6:04, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you, Bree Lynn producing, starting off at 53 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we are broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. Monday morning already here. My goodness, was there even a weekend? We got a lot of ground to cover on today's show. We are 1 week away from the legislative session. We're going to preview a whole lot on that front. Going to get into the budget a little bit. State Representative Jack McFarland is going to join us. We've got our Moral Dilemma Monday coming your way. We're going to talk with Will Green about an update on LA Driven. We're going to talk about everything under the sun with Moon. We got the BREC room still to come. We got a lot. Let's get after it. Top stories and trending. Starts us off in Livingston Parish, where Parish President Randy DeLatte announced yesterday the Burgess Road Bridge will be opening later than expected. April 20th is the new date, as opposed to the previous goal date of March 11th. DeLatte said the change was due to a number of factors: weather impacts, contractor changes, and the closure of the Lockhart Road Bridge. The Louisiana Office of Motor Vehicles warned residents about a text scam going around over the weekend. The texts claim to be from the Department of Motor Vehicles, the Louisiana Department of Motor Vehicles, and claim that residents have unpaid traffic tickets with a payment deadline of March 1st, yesterday. The text also claims that failure to pay will result in the suspension of vehicle registrations, which is, of course, bogus. Emergency officials responded to a fatal shooting at Little Blue House Club off Plank Road early Saturday morning. According to officials, the shooting occurred around 6 a.m. and 27-year-old DeMarcus Varese died on the scene from gunshot wounds. Preliminary reports said a fight led to the shooting. Suspect fled the scene afterward. An independent environmental tester who has tracked contamination from the Smitty supply explosion since the beginning says new sampling shows pollutants are still spreading downstream. Scott Smith, we know that name already, presented what he called alarming new data Saturday during a town hall meeting with residents along the Tangipahoa River. His comments come as Smitty Supply has been granted an emergency permit to discharge up to 1 million gallons of treated stormwater per day back into the river. A Baton Rouge nonprofit, which is part of a corruption investigation, allegedly paid for a man awaiting trial for murder to speak to children about gun safety and violence. This according to a report by The Advocate. According to city parish records, Safe, Hopeful, Healthy BR paid 36-year-old Marvin Payne to speak to children about gun safety in June of 2022. Court records said at that time, Payne and his brother were accused of second-degree murder in August 21 for a fatal shooting that took the life of 26-year-old Jordan Jenkins.
Well, President Trump says America will avenge the deaths of 3 U.S. service members killed in the military operation against Iran over the weekend. Holy smokes.
It's going to get worse. It is. It's going to get a lot worse. It's going to get broader, to be sure.
I know.
A bunch of planes shot down in Kuwait as well.
Yep.
Now Israel's attacking Lebanon as well.
And coming up through the Persian Gulf as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah. A total lunar eclipse will turn the moon blood red Tuesday morning. It's the end of the world, Brian.
I mean, it might be. What with everything else?
Gosh, I think our last one was back in January, and all it is, it's just when the Earth's shadow completely covers the full moon. But
yes.
Everybody's going to be going, "Oh my god!"
Right? No, it's so overrated and overhyped. If you ever, did you see the last
cool.
blood moon?
Yeah, I mean, it cool,
looked slightly redder.
Yeah,
it had a hue.
Yeah,
maybe a hue. I don't know. It just, they're always so. I get into it every single time. I look forward to it every time, and then I get let down every time.
I know. You just go outside. My boys liked it. I'm like, great, okay, I'm done, and walk back inside. Okay, after Shia LaBeouf was arrested again in New Orleans for battery. Did you see him running out the courthouse?
No.
They have video of him running out the courthouse as soon as he was finished.
Okay.
Haul and tail. So he did not get into another fight.
That's good.
It was an additional count tacked on from the previous brawl.
That's good. Good for him for not fighting more.
I feel bad for him, Brian.
Why?
Because he got his life cleaned up, got sober in 2017, and now he's going off the rails again. Supposedly because he's going through a divorce.
Okay.
Not that one's linked to the other, but I feel bad. And now he's just living his best life, I guess. But the whole world has to watch this man.
Has it been since 2017 that he's gone off the rails in New Orleans? I feel like it's every other year.
Maybe so.
This is not the first time he's gotten loose in the quarter.
Maybe so. But I know, like, he's
gotten loose
sober.
and gone sideways.
Very true. Yeah, very true. It's just, I feel like he gets clean, goes off the rails, gets clean, goes off the rails, and the whole world just has to watch this man suffer.
Well, okay, but
like, say it like that. But
you feel bad for the guy who can't keep, like, the guy who's going around picking fights off Royal. Okay, I feel bad that everybody in the world watches him do it, but that's kind of the price of fame.
That's true. That's true. I see where you coming from.
Poor guy just keeps going out and getting drunk.
Yeah, poor
this
guy.
Poor fella just keeps starting fights. Poor guy.
Just keeps beating up our friends. Yeah, poor man.
Crazy. We are at 610 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Got to remind you very quickly about the folks over at Industry Makes. IndustryMakes.org is the website if you wanted to learn a little bit more about what they've got going on, or I can tell you a little bit more about who they are and what they do. Industry Makes is a campaign born out of collaboration and a need to present a unified industrial front in the face of coordinated anti-industrial messaging. We understand that anti-industrial messages might target one company or several, but they hurt the entire manufacturing industry, which is the economic backbone of Louisiana, not just the manufacturing industry, but all the small businesses, the mom and pops that trickle down from it as well. This is the backbone of who we are. So where's the voice that speaks up for industry? IndustryMakes.org. If you would like to be an ambassador, they got a whole toolkit for you at IndustryMakes.org. Look, every time you see an announcement about anything, hell, we had an announcement last week about a new power plant over in Plaquemine. Even that got protested. All right, like, no matter what happens, someone's going to speak up against it. This is the voice speaking back. IndustryMakes.org. I did text back and forth with Rich. Not much offense out of the box. Not a problem when you've got the defense. LSU baseball continues their winning ways out at the box over the weekend. 2 games against Dartmouth, 1 game thus far against Northeastern. They're going to play Northeastern again this evening. Over the weekend, here's how it ran down scores-wise. As soon as I can scroll down. There we go. You had Dartmouth on Friday, 5-2 win LSU. Northeastern on Saturday, 3-1 win LSU. Dartmouth yesterday, 3-0 win LSU. While there wasn't much offense, there was this home run from Jake Brown in the bottom of the first that really got things, turned out it was to be the only run they would need.
And they really feel like LSU could take 9 or 10 guys off their roster, compete for the title. They think they could take another 10 guys and play pretty well. Jake Brown launches one high and deep to right field. This ball is gone. A 2-out solo homer for Jake Brown. His 5th round tripper of the season. And a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning.
And that one is all that they would need. They'd put up 2 more. They got to run off of a couple of errors, and then Jake Brown would hit an RBI double. I believe it was in the 7th to go into the 3-0 win. Pitching wise, William Schmidt's looking great, y'all. This is I don't know if he's going to move into the Friday night role. Your Saturday guy is your Saturday guy. I love that right now. You have your number 2 locked up, but it's a matter of, are you going to flip your Friday and Sunday guys as we get closer to conference play? LSU will play Northeastern this evening, 6:30 p.m. Then it'll be all of one day off, and then it's at UL Lafayette on Wednesday night, also a 6 p.m. start time. Then looking ahead to this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday set with Sacramento State. That's alliteration. 6:30 p.m. start time on Friday, 6 p.m. on Saturday, and then 1 p.m. on Sunday for the Tigers as they continue to tune up for conference play, which is, less than 2 weeks away? The following weekend, they'll be at Vanderbilt. That's how you start conference play. So LSU baseball moving to, I believe it's now 11-1 on the season. LSU women's basketball finishes out their regular season yesterday on the road at Mississippi State, a very sloppy game. Flau'jae Johnson only played 20 minutes in the whole game, only scored 4 points. Actually, the leading scorer for LSU was Michaela Williams with 26. Also in double figures was Jada Richard with 12, and Mylasia Full-Wiley with 16. Speaking of Mylasia Full-Wiley, man, her speed is so impressive. This was Full-Wiley in the first half.
Down play, ties it, and Full-Wiley's going to get a steal down in the corner. Full-Wiley, is LSU looking to take the lead down the lane, stops, turns, 5-footer, good, and LSU is on top.
As far as Michaela Williams leading the team in scoring, she had 26, and including this 3-pointer to really separate things towards the end.
So they got a longer Francis guarding Jada Richard.
Full-Wiley as a double team runs at her in the corner. She's going to spin through it and throw it out. Koval came out of there with it to Richard. Right wing Williams for 3.
Oh,
Count
that's
it.
big. Wow. Woo!
LSU would go on to win 72-63. Very, very sloppy game for the Tigers. Not their best performance, but it's difficult to stay focused on the one hand because you're going to be the 4 seed in the SEC tournament one way or another. And Mississippi State from their end was fighting for their tournament lives. They're 18-12 overall, 5-11 in conference play are the Bulldogs. So probably not going to make the postseason. But if you wanted any chance at all of it, you needed to win that one and then maybe put some things together in the SEC women's basketball tournament, which is in Greenville, South Carolina this week. LSU gets the double bye, not based off of yesterday's win, but off the win before that. So they don't play until the quarterfinals on Friday. Who are they going to play? Likely Georgia. But here's how it stacks up on LSU's end, okay? In round 1, it's going to be Arkansas versus Kentucky, Mississippi State versus Florida, Auburn versus Texas A&M, Missouri versus Alabama. The winner of that Mississippi State-Florida game goes on to play I'm sorry, I said Georgia. I meant Oklahoma. The winner of that Mississippi State-Florida game goes on to play Oklahoma. The winner of that game goes on to play LSU. So it will either be State, Florida, or Oklahoma on Friday.
was yours. Morning for Brian Haldane, yes. It was in Tiger.
Yeah.
Been wondering where that.
I have been. Good to know. Why would they be in Tiger?
Just like that. Jimmy took that from you. That was yours. Yeah, Michelle's like, Jimmy borrowed that and just stayed in Tiger. I was like, well, I'm taking it back. I broke it though. I told Michelle, but I take it back.
Okay. Things are looking right now. Actually, a pretty decent start to your Monday. You're going to find some minor delays on I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish, but you're always going to find those minor delays on I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. Outside of that, your interstate systems are looking great. Surface streets. Whoa. Don't let me speak too soon here. Nope, sorry. Okay. Back up on the interstates real quick. There is an accident I-10 eastbound that was posted up an hour ago. Sheriff's office is working on it. 10 eastbound by Highland Road is what it says on my big board, but I'm not showing any delays as a result of that. Eastbound this time of morning is going to be going opposite the flow of traffic, so hopefully that's not causing any problems out there. There are no surface street exits to report, so we're looking pretty good. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center.
Getting louder.
It keeps going. I mean, you think it's going to like peak at some point.
I'm like, wait up.
Nah, it's called a city in Florida.
Well, when does Florida come out?
I don't know. It's just like so intense. 624 Talk 1073 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got a lot of legislative preview to cover this morning. We'll get to State Representative Jack McFarland coming up at 6:52. I want to talk a little bit about hearings on the budget for the next fiscal year. Also want to talk a little bit about the legislation that he's got put out there and get his vibe on the overall session. We're going to be doing this regularly, not just through the beginning of the session, but the whole way through. It's a non-fiscal session, so don't look for tax bills, but cleaning up a whole lot of everything else. And the more I read, the more intriguing I'm finding it, because we have legislators that are all over the dadgum map. So finding what is going to stick, what is going to, pick up a little momentum should be a pretty decent time. Before we get into our next news story, I want to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website. FlyBTR.com is what you're going to find online. And when you get there, you'll learn all about the flight info. You'll learn about your parking, which, by the way, they get the cash-free parking now. Not the cash-free, the touch-free parking now. Amazing stuff. You'll learn a whole lot about what the Baton Rouge Metro Airport has to offer, and you'll honestly learn a lot about why I love it so much. One of the reasons why I love it so much is the location, the convenience, not having to drive an hour plus down the road to pay exorbitant parking fees, and then you get back home from your flight and you're still an hour away from home. Oh, look, we're home. No, we're not. That's not the case with FlyBTR, with the Baton Rouge Metro Airport, FlyBTR.com. This morning, I can tell you, 3 flights have already left out of the airport this morning. The one to Dallas has already gotten to Dallas. The Washington, D.C. flight, the one that goes into Reagan National, that daily flight, that was wheels up at 6 o'clock this morning. They are en route. Same thing with Atlanta, Georgia, left 20 minutes later. Your next flight scheduled out this morning comes just after 7 o'clock on its way to Charlotte, North Carolina. Before you make your travel plans, give them a look over at flybtr.com. All right. You're going to hear the story from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network. And you saw it heading into the weekend from all the major news outlets that applicants to Louisiana State University will once again have to submit their ACT or SAT scores when applying to the Baton Rouge campus. LSU has been operating under a test optional policy since July of 2022. Board of Supervisors member James Williams opposes changing the policy. He says it'll put low-income families at a disadvantage because they can't afford ACT tutoring. Cut 7.
There are plenty of kids who we want at LSU who don't come from households where they can afford to get that additional help on testing.
LSU says the retention rates and the GPA of students who do not submit a standardized test score are lower than those of students who do provide their ACT scores. That should be enough, right? That should be enough. You're Louisiana State University. You are the flagship of the whole dadgum state. You are the purple and gold. You are the pinnacle of where people want to be. And by the way, you're not the only 4-year institution in the state of Louisiana. And oh, by the way, TOPS pays for those other ones too. There should be a higher standard to get to LSU. Chancellor Dr. James Dalton also says the test score is one piece that they're going to look at for admission. Cut 8.
We've got more Louisiana students that are enrolled at LSU than we ever have before. And this is a part of that process of making sure that when students apply to LSU, that we have every piece of information that we can have to ensure their success.
So the ACT score would be one piece of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle. By the way, the average ACT score of LSU students is 27. Trying to think back 30 some odd years ago. 27 is what I got.
That's good. The
Yeah.
first time I took it, I got a 19.
Okay.
But I didn't study. I went into it. I would say 27 is good.
Oh, my ACT score has a story behind it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I can't be told on air.
Let's not.
No. A minimum score is not needed to be admitted to the flagship campus. Dalton says the test score is just, like we said, one component of a total comprehensive admittance process.
We got to look at high school GPA. We got to look at their involvement in local organizations, whether they're on the football team, whether they're involved in the church, whether they're holding down 2 jobs.
All that factors in. This is just one factor. Williams, back to Williams, he says he's concerned because standardized tests display known socioeconomic and geographic biases.
When the test is designed by so-and-so from the Northeast, and they're phrasing questions that our kid from Bunkie doesn't really get because they don't have to shovel snow or whatever they do in their test question, then they don't get it.
You know what? Let me do a little more background to see how many questions on the ACT are about shoveling snow.
I was like, wait, what?
By the way, the one kid from Bunkie who doesn't know about shoveling snow, his test score is going to be compared to the kid from Opelousas who doesn't know anything about shoveling snow. And they're both at the same disadvantage. And that doesn't make sense. If the test is made by somebody in the Northeast, we don't have 30 seconds left. Okay, here's news. Well, now that we're at 6:30 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, Moral Dilemma Monday's coming your way, and we got a juicy one this week. Those weren't expensive headphones, so I don't doubt it. Because shit gets manhandled around here.
My good ones are down there. I'm going to go get them another box.
Did you get the email I sent you about Moreland?
Yeah.
Okay. You all in on this one?
I'm all in.
Okay.
My thing is, suck it up for a few years. If you're afraid you're not going to like it, and then sell the business.
Yes. If you don't like it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't know everything and you're going to find that you like it.
You don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, damn it, we don't get to argue today. We're going to be on the same page on this one. All right. No. Don't force an argument. Shit, you fucking led with it. I was hoping they wouldn't lead with it. I don't like doing an LRN story right before LRN.
Oh, shit. See, I didn't know LSU stopped doing that. They said it stopped during COVID. I thought they all.
And it jacked up enrollment, and no, it didn't. No, it was a policy. It was one of Tate's policies. It was done specifically so they could check some boxes. And I can tell you who it hurts. It hurts the middle class white family. It hurts the middle class family.
What about the kid who busted his ass like throughout school and deserves this and deserves to go to LSU? And then you got Joe Blow.
Yep.
I think when I took it 3 times.
Oh, I could tell the story on Facebook. Facebook, y'all want to hear the story? I'm not going to wait for an answer. Of course, I'm going to tell it. Here we go. I was a member of St. Paul's Youth Legislature, the High Y. Okay. High Y was the program. Youth Legislature was the conference at the state capitol. My senior year, we did not have a chaperone or an academic guide or any adult with us. And we stayed at the Marriott, formerly the Hilton. And we go back and forth to the Capitol for the legislative conference. And I'm class of 95. So you'll remember this was right around the time that the drinking age changed from 18 to 21. Yeah. There may have been a few of us who were 18 and could go over to a place that is well, we all remember it fondly as Paul Cat's Liquor. And yes, that is. Huh? That's the same Paul Cat from Terrapool, by the way. We may have made a run to Paul Cat's Liquor and just completely stocked up. And the party at the Hilton, with all the schools that were there, the party at the Hilton was in the St. Paul's room, or two of our rooms that were adjoined. And this was the last night of the legislative conference. The next day was all like formality stuff. My bill had already died. The bill that I was proposing had already died. So me and 2 other guys, we woke up at the butt crack of dawn on that Saturday morning before everybody went home, and we drove back to Covington. Probably shouldn't have been behind the wheel of a car to begin with. Brian! I thought I was going to sleep it off, but
went to bed drunk, woke up drunk.
Went to bed pretty hammered and woke up, couple cups of coffee, went down to Covington, took the ACT. I don't remember anything on it, but I got a 27. So statute of limitations is long since over with. That was 95. But yeah, that's how that went. Couldn't convince anybody that I should take every test drunk. No, I wasn't drunk. I was severely hungover. Like severely hungover. Pretty much just all forms of, yeah. Oh, yeah. All forms of light were evil. But I honestly thought I tanked the whole thing and I was going to have to take it over again. And I was like, God, my parents are going to be so pissed. They're going to have to pay for another one.
Right.
Yeah. Rolled back at 27. I'm like, yeah, damn right I did. Well, that's quick. We've dipped down to 50 degrees in the last half hour. It is 6:36 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Broadcasted from the 180 Pros studio. It is time. Oh, it is time for Moral Dilemma Monday. All right. First things first, Breland. We start keeping track of what the topics were in this show, in this segment, because I was already trying to double dip.
I know.
I saw a news story over the weekend about financial infidelity. So I texted you, I'm like, did we do this? And you're like, yeah, we did this like a month ago.
Yes.
But we've only been doing this segment for a little over a month.
About holding money from your spouse.
Right,
yeah.
right. Do you have like a secret bank account? So we've already done that one. It'll
Yep.
probably come back up again later. But that I think I need to put that in. That's going to go on your plate there.
Yep. I'll keep track of everything.
A little long.
You want
there.
me to keep track of everything? I'll mess up everything on the show.
You know what? I just don't want to do it. All right.
Okay.
Got this. Oh, we got a good one here. All right. And this got kind of a Dave Ramsey flair to it as well. All right. Here goes the letter. I'm 23 years old and currently at a weird crossroads in my life where my father has given me an opportunity to take over the family business. The company generates 8 figures in revenue, and I think my father takes home over 7 figures most years.
Shoo.
I know, right? The situation is weirder because my father's health is failing, and I don't know if I'll have enough time to get the experience to learn the ropes of the business in a few years before he likely will pass away. I think he's starting to develop dementia, so I'm not sure if I should take advantage to learn what he knows now rather than trying later. He also makes really poor personal life decisions and spends time with a lot of gold diggers and is an extremely unhappy person. I don't know what that had to do with the whole thing, but it's in there, all right? The stress and pressure of the company destroyed our family and his marriage. I'm not sure if taking over this company is going to turn me into him and destroy all my personal relationships like it did with him. I don't really have much work experience besides a year and a half as a project manager here, and I've lived a pretty sheltered existence, so maybe I'm being a moron by even considering walking away. I also really want to go to school to finish up my bioinformatics degree because that's what I'm actually interested in, not what our business does, but I really have no idea what my prospects look like on that end with the degree or if I would be able to start my own business 20 years down the line or something. I have 2 years left in my degree to finish. Not sure if I should go back to school or what I should do. Okay. With all that in mind, and by the way, it doesn't say what the business is. At no point does it say what the business is.
Something with project management. Something.
Right.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. So maybe in the construction world, I don't know. Consulting world too. That could be so vague. It covers so much ground. But with that in mind, does this guy take over the family business now?
Well, yeah, to hang out with gold diggers.
See, no.
I mean,
gold diggers aside.
Why did he throw that in there first off?
Well, because he talks about how the business, he blames the business for ruining the dad's life.
Right.
But it's poor personal decisions ruin the life.
On a serious note.
If you can consciously see where your parents go wrong, you can correct. You can course correct. So I don't know that it's necessarily the business that ruined their lives or the decisions that went along with the business. But
he would be a dang fool not to take over the family business.
Thank you. Thank you. At
23
years
Yep.
old, take over the family business with the potential of earning 7 figures in a year. That is insane. You would be insane to pass that up.
Okay, and let's say he does get overwhelmed. Let's say he doesn't know anything about it. You can eventually sell the business and maybe get somebody under you to learn the ropes and then eventually ride off into the deep end. Now, here's the other side. I see the other side. I'm taking it from me for a personal example. When I went to college, I went with mass comm and broadcasting. Never wanted to change it. I was determined, no matter what I thought for a little while, maybe biology, maybe medical, because medical makes money.
Yeah.
I would be a fool not to take medical. Stuck with broadcasting, knowing it don't pay. But regardless, what I'm saying is I see where he's coming from. He wants to go with something he's actually interested in.
Okay. That is, and I apologize because it's going to be blunt to you as blunt as him. That is a complete lack of humility.
Okay.
If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Sometimes
that's true.
Sometimes opportunity pops up that is God's plan, not yours. For example, with this, broaden out the scope a little bit. With this, if his old man's got dementia, it's possible he might need to stay on the payroll just for the health care. So if this guy
I didn't even see that.
If this guy wants to sell off the company, that's where the moral dilemma comes in, right? This isn't just about a career choice. This is about an entire family business. If he wants to sell this thing off, then what happens to everybody who's on payroll? Who's getting fired? Who's getting laid off? Who's getting let go? Who no longer has the health care to walk them through their health needs?
Dang, Brian, I did not see you going there. There's that moral dilemma.
Right.
Holy smokes.
So that's one part of it. Another part is you're 23 years old. There, and look, you're talking to a guy who went to college in 2 different stages as well. So I know what it's. I've seen what it's like to be able to walk away and come back. And by the way, you get a different perspective when you come back. So the second go around in college is a completely different experience.
Right.
It's a lot more study based than socially based, or at least that's the way it was from my individual perspective.
Man, you bring up an interesting point. It's like, selfishly, do you walk away and say, you know what? I'm going to go for project, or in my case, if I had the chance to take over a family business, nope, I'm doing broadcasting, forget y'all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But
I don't know if I could do that to my family.
Had you been, well, that's, see, now you're getting there as well. Had you been presented with this similar conundrum, would you be going down that path instead? Would you be going down that path where,
right?
No, you wanted to stick with broadcasting as opposed to other majors, not as opposed to
taking over the family business.
Right.
But putting myself in his shoes, I couldn't do that to my family.
No.
So my moral conscience kicks in.
Same.
Byron has a good point.
What's
the man left out too much information.
He did.
What is the business?
Right.
How old is the dad? Does the company have debt? And so on.
That's another good question.
That's a whole other rabbit hole.
Another good question. Yep. Either way, I'm saying pick up the reins. Make sure your old man's make sure your dad's taking. Make sure your old man's taken care of, and then what's the possibility that you end up liking this? I mean, if he's worked as a project manager in this field, whatever the field is, if he's worked as a project manager in this field, then he hasn't walked away from that.
Right. And he got to hang out with gold diggers.
Well, that's
he just
threw that in there. Poor life decision. Spends time with a lot of gold diggers. Is an overall extremely unhappy person. By the way, being unhappy has nothing to do with the job either.
Right. And that could be his dementia.
The only yes, those two things do go together a lot. They do. Yep. So, and that has, like I said, nothing to do whatsoever with the only person that control your happiness is you.
Well, yeah, because I'm reading this. It says the stress and the pressure of the company destroyed our family and his marriage. That's on the old man. I'm not trying to sound ugly, but the old man had his choice in life.
Right. If he's a generally unhappy person, then he's going to make self-destructive decisions. You don't have to go down that path, but you do have to honor your mother and father, which means picking up the reins and making sure they're taken care of.
Troy has a point. If his dad is taking home 7 figures, the company doesn't have oppressive debt. Or
One
it
would
has the
hope.
most favorable debt terms ever invented.
One would hope.
Right.
Right. That is a good point, Troy. What say you? We're going to continue the conversation over there on Facebook Live, where we're at every single morning, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. It's one where knowing a little bit more about the situation might help define things a little better, but I'm going to be stuck on the idea of, is my father taken care of? That's where I'm going to get stuck, and I don't know if I can move off of that.
It's the same thing,
regardless of what the business is.
Right, and it's the same thing. Like, I could never put my mom in a nursing home. That's just me. I know that kind of derailed the conversation, but that's the moral in my life.
Yeah.
I want to take care of my family, whether take over the family business, keep my mom at home, etc. Yep.
646 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Need to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. You're going to find Landmark Bank in a number of individual communities around Baton Rouge. You don't find them in downtown Baton Rouge. You're going to find them in Midtown Manhattan, for that matter. Where you will find them is Zachary, Bruley, Denham, Clinton, a number of other locations. Go to landmarkbankla.com, hit the About Us tab if you want to find the individual locations. The reason that a community bank is important to you is because you get a banker. You get someone that you see in carpool. You get someone that you see at the grocery store. You get someone who has a better idea of not just your wants, needs, dreams, and desires, but how to get you there. Whether it comes to saving, borrowing, investing, you have someone who can work with you. Learn more at landmarkbankla.com. Quick break. We got traffic. We got Your Money Now. State Representative Jack McFarland right after this. Who was the call? Yeah. Okay.
He's probably going to curse me out too, like he did JP.
That's fine. I don't care. On Facebook. Actually, yeah. Do you have Jack McFarland's phone number?
I do not. I texted it to him.
Yep.
Are you want me to write it down? I can turn you off. Because the owner sucked up too much correctly with habits, but it motivated me to start my own business. Huh. And that company was loaded with debt. Huh. A lot of interesting conversations about that topic on Facebook.
It snowed. Not here, buddy. Not here.
Talk 107.3, mornings with Brian Haldane. Hey, good morning. It's Breland, Brian's producer. Hey, we're going to come to you in about 2 minutes, okay? All right, thank you. They told me, good morning, Brian Haldane. Alan, need to enjoy it while it lasts before you move down here.
He's struggling to find a place. Yeah.
Well, look, if you can't find a place, don't move.
He hits me up on Twitter, and I'm like, I feel like I'm constantly saying no. Is this a good area? No. It was like, what? He was asking about Mall City. I'm like, no. Yeah, that's it's like, man, whatever you think you're budgeting for apartments, you might want to up it by a little bit, because
the average in a good place here is what, 1,500? I haven't rented it yet, or 2,000.
Your Money Now.
We can't though, not until February. Okay. Does that mean that's all?
Yeah. Okay. Well, you were about to hit a button.
Thank you.
Okay. Is it on yet?
Good morning, Kim. Alan, you just got to look around. See, I own a condo and I rent it out to people, and we haven't gone up on the rent in like 8 years, and we won't because we have a good renter. And that's Mid-City Baton Rouge, $1,200. We could go way up if we wanted to,
Yeah.
but you know, we have a good renter. We ain't going to do that to him, but just look around, Alan. And not Mall City.
No, he had one on North Lobdell. I'm like, so he hit another one that's on River Road, which River Road in between campus and downtown, which is not the best, but it's not the worst. It's not nearly the worst. It's crime over there is, well, homicides are rare. And if I'm not mistaken, the particular complex he asked about is fenced. So I don't know.
I want to put Alan over there.
What?
Put Alan over there.
I mean,
Yeah.
652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time for another preview of the upcoming legislative session. Time to welcome back to the show State Representative Jack McFarland. Representative McFarland, how are you, man?
Doing good, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing very well as well. Before we get into it, I know it's a very limited segment this morning, but you have a doppelganger in Baton Rouge. I don't know if you knew this or not.
No, I didn't know that.
Took my family out to Louis Cafe I guess it was a little over a month ago, and I swear there was a spitting image of you, and like I was so rude because I was like staring at the guy. I'm like, that's Representative McFarland. I know that's Representative. I 1,000%. It wasn't, of course, you, but but just want to let you know, if you're like ever falsely accused of a crime, the guy that was at Louis that day probably did it.
Yeah, I need to find this guy.
Yeah, y'all could cut up a little bit for sure. Every legislative session, the biggest item out there is HB 1. That would be, known as the budget. Walk us through anything big any big surprises in this year's budget.
No, I don't think so. I think the governor and the administration did a good job of presenting a executive budget that was a standstill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're recognizing that the dollars we have available now are on a continuation basis, looking out over the next 5 years, are going to start to go down. And I think that they've done a good job of getting in front of it and preparing for it. So I'm encouraged that we'll be able to go back in, which we actually start our budget presentations today.
Yep.
With the agencies and have an opportunity to examine each agency's budget. So I'm optimistic that not only can we do a standstill, we can start rolling back some spending. I think that the work that LaDoge had done was fantastic. I think they found some really good efficiencies within each agency.
Yep.
So it puts us in a really good position.
When something like LaDoge rolls through, do those dollars get saved, or do they just get reappropriated?
So many of these dollars got reappropriated.
Yep.
Some of the savings, for example, there was about $150 million in savings that was recognized in the 25-26 budget that we count for LaDoge savings that they had found. But what that's done is that's enabled us to, for an example, we was able to fund our early childhood education with some dollars that the federal government is not sending us. So we were able to maintain that same level.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with the SNAPS benefits program. Now the state is responsible for additional about $50 million in administrating the program. Those savings we found within those agencies allowed us to continue that SNAPS program at the same level. without the use of those federal dollars. So those are things we were able to do and not grow spending.
What about the Gator Scholarship Program? I know that's going to be a big point of contention.
It is. There's still a lot of questions. I know the governor in his executive budget was requesting an additional about $50 million to increase the number of participants in that program, but there's still some concerns. I believe you, excuse me, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I was drinking coffee.
So was I.
I think the Senate president has done a good job of speaking out about what many of the concerns we've had with with that program specifically, and some of the cost that was going to be associated with it that we, first of all, didn't recognize, such as paying for some supplies and clothing and other things, and I don't think that's what that's intended for. So that program, if you look at it in other states, has grown significantly, and that's a concern going forward, because once you start that $100 million, that's going to follow those students all the way through their entire education.
Yes.
And if it's doubling every year, well, then obviously that is not something that we could even begin to fund.
Also true. It doesn't stop it from being a great idea, but funds do get limited, to be sure. When it comes to the overall budget, I can't imagine a scenario where Louisiana just rubber stamps the governor's budget and then moves on.
No, that has never happened, and I don't expect it to happen. I do believe that in our review so far, there will be some tweaks that we're going to make to his request and his proposal and his executive budget. But the whole reason we have these budget presentations is that so we can have an opportunity to question those agencies about the proposed spending request that they've had. And we may find additional savings, or we may not agree with some of the requests that they are making, or we may want to give them additional dollars because there's programs within there that the legislature thinks is more important.
We got State Representative Jack McFarland on with us. We got exactly 2 more minutes with Representative McFarland. We're going to get you back on right at the beginning of the session to talk about, some other open-ended conversations. But within these last 2 minutes, I want to ask you, aside from HB1, what are you carrying that you're most proud of this year?
Brian, since I've been working with Speaker DeVilliers and as chairman of appropriations, he's asked me every year, Jack, I want your main job to be to focus on the budget. And if I do that and I don't get deterred or deflected with other bills that I'm running, then it puts me in a better position to do my job better and deliver to the people what they deserve. So I've made it a concerted effort to follow his wishes and mainly focus on the budget. And so therefore I am not running any other bills that are of significance. I'm changing an administrative rule and just a couple minor bills, but I am focusing mainly on the budget.
All right. Well, that is what we're going to call it. I know it was a shorter segment this morning than normal, but we will get you back on as soon as the session is opened up, get a better idea of where the budget's headed, and talk a little bit about just overall themes within the session. He is State Representative Jack McFarland. We always appreciate the time, sir. Thanks a million.
Thank you, Brian.
We'll talk soon. State Representative Jack McFarland joining us just to talk about HB1, a.k.a. the budget. Before we hit news at the top of the hour, I do want to remind you, Talk 107.3 is bringing you gavel-to-gavel coverage of the 2026 legislative session Monday, March 9th, 1 week from today. Moon will be live from the Capitol at 9 a.m. Then me and Moon are going to pick it up at 11 o'clock for a special session preview, kind of a pregame show, as it were, walking you up to Governor Landry's opening remarks. Stay informed on the conversations at the Capitol with Talk 107.3 FM. Hour 1 is in the books. Hour 2 coming your way next. I need you going to 2025, April 14th, Medical Monday. Whoop.
Dr. McCormick?
Yes. Yet would be the one.
You always do that, right? You always include your bed. I never have to fire it up.
Oh, that's a good one. So going back to Moral Dilemma Monday, my wife says, knowing from experience, Moral Dilemma guy might need the flexibility in his job to take care of his dad if he doesn't have dementia. Yeah. How many hours can you have off? You know? That's a good point.
And not to be locked in at 8 to 5 where you get a 30-minute lunch.
Right. Now, that might mean selling off the company, going back to school to finish out your school, but your school schedule is more conducive to taking care of your old man personally.
Right. And you'll have the money to do it. Like,
If you sell off, well, oh, man, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Dang, Christy, I didn't even see that side.
See? This is why we do this segment.
And we get to hang out with gold diggers. I love it. When he said that, I'm like, okay.
When your budget is $850 or less, it kind of limits you. Man, that is a tight budget, dude. That is a very tight budget. See, but he's looking between here and Lafayette. And I think it's going to be Lafayette just because rentals are going to be cheaper over there.
It's cheaper in Lafayette. He could probably even find a rental in Breaux Bridge.
I would, yeah.
Or like Henderson, or to where he can live. There ain't shit out there, but if you want cheap rent. This day in history, British serial killer known as the Yorkshire Ripper is arrested, ending one of the largest manhunts in UK history.
Tell you where I would look, believe it or not. I'd jump the river. I'd look in West Baton Rouge, Port Allen, Addis, Bruley. Bruh.
Alan, if you can swing it, I would say $1,000 a month just to get decent living.
I would also get off the major sites and start looking for stuff that's leased out by owner. At like the Zillows and the Realtor.coms and whatnot. I would look on the places that are. Hey, Park East off of Sharp. That's not terrible. I actually lived right next door to there before I was married. Gross. What? .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Breland producing. Drop it. Excuse me. Dropping down to 50 degrees which we did in between the beginning of the 6 o'clock hour and right now. Broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. Is it time for your IT to do a 180? Visit 180pros.com. We got a busy hour for you this hour. Medical Monday coming up in our next segment. Will Green from LABI. What's the latest on LA Driven? Well, he has been touring the state, and we will have that for you coming up at 7:35. Also, This Day in History before the hour is over with. Before we get you to top stories and trending, I want to welcome aboard to the show the great folks over at Guarantee Health Solutions. Yes, this is a piece of our overall company, and I love the direction that it's headed. One of the things that's missing from healthcare oftentimes, when you open up a clinic, when you branch out in your practice, or even at the hospital level, the level of concern and bedside manner, the level of patient care that's out there, making sure that the hospitality is not left out of the healthcare. Unbelievably important and often overlooked. Keep the hospitality in the healthcare. As you're growing, let's say you've opened up a clinic. Let's say you've opened up an urgent care or a specialty clinic. Let's say you're a dentist, whatever the case might be. Is the hospitality still front and center as you grow your business model? As you work on marketing, as you work on your 5-year game plan, as you work on all these other things, where's the patient's focus? This is what Guarantee Health does and does better than anybody else out there. They can help you sell. They can help you market. They can help you measure where you're going to make sure you're going in the right direction, all while keeping the patient top of mind. Want to learn more? Visit guaranteehealth.com or give us a call in the office here at 225-290-7534. 225-290-7534. So proud to welcome aboard Guarantee Health Solutions. This patient-minded focus is going to make all the difference, not just for you, but for your patients and your patient's family. Guarantee Health Solutions. Time for top stories and trending. Let's go. Boop, bop, boop. Livingston Parish President Randy DeLatte announced Sunday the Burgess Road Bridge will be opening later than expected, April 28th, as opposed to the previous goal date of March 11th. DeLatte said the change was due to a number of reasons. You had weather impacts going on, contractor changes, and the closure of the Lockhart Road Bridge. A Louisiana Office of Motor Vehicles warned residents about a text scam going around over the weekend. The text claimed to be from the Louisiana Department of Motor Vehicles. However, to go along with that, they were claiming that residents had unpaid traffic tickets with a payment deadline of yesterday. The text also claims that failure to pay would result in the suspension of a vehicle registration, which is, of course, bogus. I don't know that there's any deadline that would ever be set on a Sunday for the DMV. No. Emergency officials responded to a fatal shooting at Lil Blue House Club off Plank Road early Saturday morning. According to officials, the shooting occurred around 6 a.m. 27-year-old DeMarcus Veriste died on the scene from gunshot wounds. Preliminary reports said a fight led to the shooting. The suspect fled the scene afterwards. The unknown suspect fled the scene afterwards. By the way, District Attorney Hiller Moore is already looking into whether or not this particular property is a nuisance property. An independent environmental tester who has tracked contamination from the Smitty's supply explosion since the beginning says new sampling shows pollutants are still spreading downstream. Scott Smith, we already know about him, presented what he called alarming new data Saturday during a town hall meeting with residents along the Tangipahoa River. His comments came as Smitty's Supply has been granted an emergency permit to discharge up to 1 million gallons of treated stormwater per day into that very same river. Number one brings us around to, I closed it out. I need to open it back up again. My apologies. The Safe, Hopeful, Healthy Initiative. I might have that wrong. Here we go. Yeah, Safe, Hopeful, Healthy BR. A Baton Rouge nonprofit, which is part of a corruption investigation, allegedly paid for a man awaiting trial for murder to speak to children about gun safety and violence. According to City Parish records, Safe, Hopeful, Healthy BR paid 36-year-old Marvin Payne to speak to children about gun safety in June of 2022. I'm getting this from BRZ, who's getting it from the Advocate. Court records said at the time, Payne and his brother were accused of second-degree murder in August of 21 for a fatal shooting that took the life of 26-year-old Jordan Jenkins. Payne was later bonded out as he waited for a murder trial. Several weeks after being released on bond, Baton Rouge City Constable Tarika Williams hosted a summer mentoring program, and, well, everything allegedly transpired from there. What do you got?
President Trump says America will avenge the deaths of 3 U.S. service members killed in a military operation against Iran over the weekend.
This is going to get bad. It's going to get
It's
broader.
about to get ugly.
I know. I don't.
It's ugly already.
Yes.
It's about to get
uglier.
Yes.
Ugliest.
And now multiple Gulf cities, including Dubai. It's just, and they're coming in from the Persian Gulf. It's just Iran's getting blown up everywhere.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Franz was supposed to be over in the Holy Land this week.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it there.
Right.
I don't think he's going to.
Or if the flight's still good, don't go. Right. A total lunar eclipse will turn the moon blood red, tomorrow morning.
No, it won't. I'm tired of buying into it. It will not be blood. I know you're reading from the AP. I understand that.
Blood red.
That's not your hyperbole. That is blood. It's not going to be blood. It's going to be slightly redder. It's going to be slightly redder.
The world's ending, Brian.
Oh, look, the moon has a hue.
I know. And the world is ending. You know, every time the blood moon stories come out, people freak out.
I know.
It happens all the time.
So underwhelming. And I bite every single time. Like Charlie Brown kicking the football.
And you go out there and look and you're like, and
it's
say,
nothing. Oh,
yeah, I'm bored.
It's slightly redder. Oh.
Oh, wow.
It's not blood red. It's not
blood red.
It's dripping. The moon isn't dripping.
Okay, actor Shia LaBeouf was arrested again in New Orleans for battery. He did not get into another fight. Shocker. It's an additional count tagged on from the previous brawl.
So I was asking in the last hour, and I don't know the answer to this, and I'm probably going to go look it up. But once we have some time, how often does he do this? Because it feels like it's every other year.
I swore that he was sober since 2017.
No, sober doesn't necessarily mean not fighting.
Yeah, but I felt like he was cool and contained, if that made sense. Like he was sober, life was good. He was good. Let me see. Last time, can I just Google that?
Hang on. No, if you Google how often does Shia LaBeouf, Google fills in the rest of the sentence, you know?
Oh, boy.
Okay. You would think the first answer would be make a movie. How often does Shia LaBeouf? What's Google going to fill in the rest with? All right. So don't look it up. I want you to guess. How often does Shia LaBeouf? What do you think is the first one?
Fights people.
No. How often does Shia LaBeouf go to jail? Number 2. Oh, this is so sad. Number 2. How often does Shia LaBeouf get married? The third one. Oh, this is so sad. How often does Shia LaBeouf see his daughter?
Brian, oh my God.
It's Google. It's not me.
It makes it out to be like this man's just falling apart.
Well,
he kind of is. I know he kind of is. Have we seen the videos of Bourbon Street? I mean,
it was royal. It was in the quarter, but I don't think.
How often does he see his daughter? Holy now that's just morbid.
Well, obviously that's the one I'm going to click on.
I know, right? And what is
no, the news is good here. Actively involved.
Oh,
actively
okay,
involved. Good for him. Awesome.
Good for him. He may be fighting people on bourbon, but he sees his daughter. Gotta love it. It's morbid.
So terrible. I've got a live read here, and I don't think they want to be anywhere near this segment.
Please
so
don't.
Let's just break.
Okay. Who was your live read?
At 180 Pros. Is it time for your anger management to do a 180? Yes, Debbie, the blood moon is associated with you get a blood moon out of an eclipse. It's number 1. Right. How often does Shia LaBeouf go to jail?
The incident has sparked renewed scrutiny of his behavior, particularly given his past struggles with legal trouble and sobriety. How long did Shia LaBeouf go without showering?
Gross.
4 months, Brian.
I hear that's super healthy. It sounds disgusting. I shower 2 or 3 times a day.
I have to. I do 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. And if I go to the gym, right after the gym.
I shower in the morning to wake up. You have a Medical Monday good to go? All right, so during Medical Monday, you're killing my mic, right? Okay. No, it's they need to hear Medical Monday. It's part of the contract.
Do you want to do your live read before Medical Monday? Do we have
After that, just because I don't know if we're gonna have time.
It's time for your weekly checkup. This is Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake Health.
All right, it is time for Medical Monday, and we are joined right now by Dr. McCormick, talking a little bit about seasonal allergies. Dr. McCormick, good morning. How are you?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you on here. Obviously, you're probably hearing it in my voice. The pollen's been killing me. Let's go ahead and talk. You are a pediatric allergist and an immunologist over at Our Lady of the Lakes Children's Health. So you're just the guy to talk to about this. We all know what allergies, quote unquote, are. Well, no, let me rephrase that. We know what symptoms are. What is an allergy?
Well, in simple terms, to be honest with you, allergies just reference things that are triggering allergic responses. What do we mean by allergic responses? Symptoms of runny nose, congestion, sneezing, coughing, and for some people that can also affect their skin and maybe even manifest as food allergy.
What percentage of your patients would say they have allergies or conditions related to allergies? Basically, how common is this amongst the population?
Oh, with the population, the latest data suggests that about 1 in 5 Americans have some degree of allergy that they suffer from. And so we're talking a lot of people. In my particular practice, where I see mostly children, I'd say nearly 2/3 will have some degree of an allergic condition that we're trying to manage.
Okay, I want to expound upon that for just a second. So we're going to have to leave the rails here for a minute. And we're talking with Dr. McCormick from Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health about seasonal allergies. You said 2/3 of children, but 1 in 5 essentially overall. Do we grow out of it?
The answer is yes. Your sensitivity or how easy it is for you to react to your environment can change over time because people's bodies change over time, hormonal issues, age. We do see a fair number of children, especially as they get into their mid to late teens, change and oftentimes just develop more tolerance and are not as allergic. But of course, we have no way of knowing who they would be over time.
All right, let's talk about the difference between like regular allergies and seasonal allergies. What is the difference there?
Well, it's a bit of a semantic issue. When people refer to allergies, they're really referring to nasal symptoms, runny nose, congestion, sneezing, things of that nature. Seasonal is much more when you have certain times of the year, particularly spring and fall. Especially in this time of year, we have a lot of children and young adults and older adults who manifest a lot of runny nose, congestion, sneezing, headaches, itchy, watery eyes that can just come about certain seasons, then take a dip, and then resurface again in the fall based on how allergic they are to their environment.
You could be both, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have some people who have year-round symptoms because they're sensitized to indoor allergens, things like dust mites, cat or dog, maybe even mold, which can be really prevalent indoors and outdoors, especially how humid it is in Louisiana.
We're talking with Dr. McCormick from Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health. Seasonal allergies, is it also regional allergies? I mean, is it more like prevalent in this part of the country?
You would think, to be honest with you, we all think that depending upon the part of the country, but we will say generally Southeast, Southwest will experience more pollen exposure. The closer you are to the equator of the world, or the warmer the climates are, especially with the Earth kind of getting a little bit warmer now, pollen is at its all-time highest. I mean, plants are putting out way more pollen than they used to 10, 15 years ago, and the pollen seasons tend to be a little bit longer. And so we kind of disproportionately are affected more in Southeast Louisiana.
Yeah, it's kind of God's cruel joke, right? As soon as the weather gets nice enough to get outside and enjoy everything, you just get attacked with the seasonal allergies.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I will tell you, if you're going to do anything outdoors, you want to do it midday or closer in the afternoon.
Really?
Pollen count especially. But, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, it varies during the day?
Yes, absolutely. The highest peak pollen count is in the morning. usually between 7:30 and 8 o'clock.
I thought when you had pollen count, it was just that was the pollen for the day. I had no idea it varied within the day.
It's in.
Go ahead.
Wait, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Continue.
I was just going to say it's important to know that because a lot of people do activities outdoors. They walk, they run, and they do things. And a lot of our children are standing outside for buses. And so they're disproportionately affected because that's when the pollen count's the highest.
All right, let's get into a little bit about the why. Why do people get allergies, and what are some of the things that might trigger the seasonal allergies?
With the why, some children and adults they're born with that genetic predisposition for their body or their immune system to kind of get exposed and produce this type of response. And the response is that they would overproduce mucus, they'll cause their airways to get constricted, or their skin is a little bit more programmed to accept irritants from the environment, which become allergens. We're talking pollen, we're talking foods, we're talking pets, we're talking mold. And it develops over time and it varies depending upon how you are exposed. So the more you're exposed over time, we have a lot of people do things outdoors, indoors, and things of that nature, they can manifest a lot more symptoms and it can really impact their quality of life.
Symptoms wise, when it comes to regular allergies, we see things like I just as an example, a peanut allergy, where you would, some parents actually have to carry EpiPens with them everywhere they go. Do you see the same symptoms for seasonal allergies that you do for other allergies?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Typically with food allergies, they would have, it could begin with skin manifestations, lung manifestations, and we're talking about rash, swelling, things of that nature, trouble swallowing, or that goes into more of the anaphylaxis, more severe type of allergic response. When we're talking about seasonal allergies, we're talking about the onset of itchy, watery eyes, runny nose, itchy nose, and sneezing. Nasal congestion is not necessarily a classic sign of allergies because that can happen with colds, viruses, and just irritants in the environment. But the more that nose is itchy, the more the eyes or the face itchy and people are rubbing their nose, the more there is a concern about whether or not they're allergic to something.
You know what? I'm going to skip around a little bit here because I want to follow up on that, Dr. McCormick, if we could. By the way, this is Medical Monday presented by the folks over at Our Lady of the Lake, and we're talking seasonal allergies. So if there's so many similar symptoms between, let's say, the common cold, allergies, or now over the last 5 years, you're going to throw COVID in the mix here. So many common symptoms. What does it take to tell the difference?
Typically, the duration of symptoms and how severe they are and the presence of fever. Yes, being allergic and having allergy type symptoms can make you feel rotten or crummy and have headaches and things of that nature. But when we're talking about predominant nasal congestion, a discolored discharge coming from the nose in the setting of coughing and or sore throat, plus or minus a headache, you tend to be a little bit more concerned about an illness, more often viral illnesses. And in this day and age, when you throw in the situation of feeling really tired, really fatigued, muscle body ache, significant headache, you're worried about some of the more significant viral illnesses like influenza or parainfluenza. But when you throw in the decrease in the ability to smell and or some of those additional symptoms, sometimes it gets really tough to determine whether or not that's influenza or COVID, but COVID is much more likely to take away your sense of smell. Thankfully, it's temporary.
But aren't we clear of flu season already?
We still have flu in the environment right now, so it's not at peak time, but we still are seeing some patients with influenza right now. And so we were advising the influenza vaccine to help reduce the significant symptoms and reduce hospitalization as late as last week. And so it's still hanging around. But it's definitely not nearly as bad as it was December through early March.
All right, let's talk about the parents that have children here. Well, all parents have children. Let's talk about our listeners who are parents. How about that for better phrasing? If our listeners who are parents out there, what do they need to be on the lookout for?
Well, the children would frequently runny nose and wiping their face. And also sounding stuffy and coughing a lot at nighttime. Those are the worrisome signs that keep children up at night. They can negatively affect their school performance. Their sleep will be disturbed. Yep. And so we end up being in a situation where those children are getting sick very often because the more frequent the nasal symptoms are, they will pick up more respiratory infections. And so it may be good to start with their primary care physician and see whether or not they'll do better seeing an allergist to help support their care, to help reduce that impact on their quality of life.
We got just a minute or so left with Dr. McCormick. He's an allergist and immunologist with Our Lady of the Lake. This is, of course, Medical Mondays presented by Our Lady of the Lake. Where do we send somebody? If someone wants to learn more, if they want a consultation, if they want to schedule an appointment, where do they need to go?
Oh, they can go to OLOL Children's Health. You can go to Allergy and Immunology. You can find us there. You can call 225-765-5500, and you'll navigate the prompts to find our allergist and our organization. And you can always go with your primary care physicians and let them know that that you would like to seek further help with regards to those nasal symptoms and or allergy or allergic conditions, and then they'll get you in touch with us as well.
I'm sorry, one more, and I've got to kind of backtrack on this one a little bit. We're in like the pollen season and whatnot, but does allergy season actually end?
Yes, it does. I mean, right now we're in predominantly grass pollen season.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest issue right now. And so it's going to die down going into late summer. And then we'll get into fall, which was more weed pollen season. So it just kind of cycles, and they kind of do, it's like a relay race. They hand the baton to the next predominant allergen. So, but it is highly individual. So I think that's the key to remember.
He is Dr. McCormick from Our Lady of the Lake. Fantastic stuff, man. Thank you so much for a great segment.
No problem. Thank you.
We are at 726 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Medical Monday comes your way every Monday, courtesy of the folks over at Our Lady of the Lake, FMOL Health. Of course, I do need to give the disclaimer. We need to give the disclaimer every time we have a pre-recorded segment. That, of course, was a pre-recorded segment for Medical Monday. Still to come this hour, we've got Will Green from LABI going to join us in our next segment. Also, This Day in History coming up later on this hour. While I've got a minute here, let me tell you about the folks over at 180 Pros. 180pros.com is the website. Is it time for your IT to do a 180? What does that mean? What does that look like? Well, you got your network built out, okay? You got whatever, you're keeping an eye on cybersecurity, maybe one eye on it. Is anybody keeping two eyes on it? And is anybody making sure that they're putting their entire reputation off of your network's stability? When you go with 180 Pros, you go with someone who is an IT partner, not an IT provider. They do, but they put their whole reputation on your network stability. They base their success off of your success. They've got the latest when it comes to cybersecurity. Absolutely. They know all the tech inside and out, but they go above and beyond by, number one, being local. 330-2200 is the phone number, 225-330-2200. They guarantee same-day response time. Now, I mean, you can't call them after hours and expect same-day response time, but if you're calling during work hours, you're going to get same-day response time. Also, simplified billing. Get yourself a one-page invoice. Stop getting nickel and dimed for everything under the sun. 180pros.com. We got about 2 minutes till we hit news at the bottom of the hour. Want to go back to sports for a quick second and give a shout-out to the Catholic High Bears. Their basketball team advanced in the LHSAA playoffs on Friday night, sadly by defeating the St. Paul's Wolves. Got to take my wife out to the game. A little sneak in, a little date night, watch my old high school play. And if I don't know if he could even be heard, but man, there was one fan, and sadly, he was from my school, who was just screaming at the officials the entire night. So annoying. Just yelling, "You're cheating!" Like every time there's a call, every whistle, every non-whistle, literally every trip up the floor. And I'm like, dude, this isn't who we are. Do we need to go get Brother Ray and bring him back? I mean, he passed, but like Brother Ray would not approve. Anyway, Catholics got themselves a decent little team. I say little. They got a dude who's like 6'7". 6'7". He's 6'7". Don't do the 6'7" thing. Catholic moves on, beats St. Paul's. Too many turnovers. And I will tell you this, though. And we went to Elsie's Plate and Pie afterwards. I got me a shrimp Diablo melt. Oh, so good. The guy who coached me in basketball 30 plus years ago, after a 25-year stint at another school, is back at St. Paul's. Monty Font knows his name. Went and saw him after the game, recognized me immediately. This was my favorite part of the game. I know we lost, but like my favorite part of the game was St. Paul's had the ball down by like 3, I think, at the time. Coach Fontenot goes, he calls a play, calls fist. And I'm like, I remember fist. I know fist. Put me in, coach. I know right where to go on fist. I'm loop around, hit the baseline, and we're looking for that baseline three-pointer. That's what we're looking for in fist. Anyway, Catholics got themselves a great team. Hopefully, we'll continue. I say great. The record doesn't show it, but they play some decent ball, and they move on in the playoffs. All right, 7:30. Will Green's up next. Y'all have no idea how excited I got when he called fist.
You were like,
I know that I can run this. I was even more excited after the game when he recognized me immediately. Like what? Well, on the phone. Like when I went to go shake his hand, he gave me this look like I know this guy, and then I was like, Brian Haldane, class 95. He's like, holy shit, Haldane! How have you been? Like he's a like my yeah. It sucked that the Wolves lost, but that was a cool moment. That was a very cool moment. It's cool to know, like, as a former student, you know what teachers had an impact on you, but to know that you left an impression on the school that you went to. That was close. LABI? God, this guy doesn't know his ass. No, that's Andrew Greenstein, whatever. LABI?
Remember when I posted the article, LABI? LOBBY?
Yeah.
LABI? Shit. Talk 107.3. Hey, Will, good morning. We'll see you in 2 minutes. Okay. Will from LABI's on the phone.
Yeah. You know what they can't afford? Southeastern, UL Fun Row, McNeese, Northwestern, UNO. I'm sorry, LSUNO.
I went to UL. I loved it.
We've got more Louisiana students that have enrolled at LSU than we ever have before. And this is a part of that process of making sure that when students apply, that we have every piece of information to ensure their success.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
We steer clear of any major accidents this morning. We do have some pretty heavy backups, particularly on I-12. It's 33 minutes.
Damn it.
Between Griffon and 12 splits on I-10. And pretty good shape there. Untitled Bridge, 17-minute drive. Also 17 minutes on LA1 from Addis across the Intercoastal Canal.
Sex Pistols member Sid Vicious was to trial for the murder of his girlfriend. Damn.
Tell you what to pay. Text now asks what you need. It's at first phone service. Without commitments, credit checks, or carrier attitude. Built for people who stop asking for permission. Download today.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Looking for a real estate closing partner in Baton Rouge that offers mobile closing services? Mid-City Title, midcitytitle.com.
What's wrong?
For some reason, I can't say so. Oh, because I'm on a different browser.
You know what else he does have good? I'm going to tell you that. Their wine selection is really good. I don't know if you drink wine, but.
We usually get beers while we're there. They have some. Well, I don't know. I feel like their beer selection goes out of its way to be like so eclectic that no one can like it. It's just too hip for the room. Right. Ooh. Our triple IPA thinks your double IPA is lazy.
Oh, we don't have no
Right. Motherboard. Oh.
My babies in their matching shirts this morning for school. It says bro on 7.
Nice.
It said, Mama, I'm a big boy. I said, oh, okay.
.736 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Don't forget the Talk 107.3 app is available on Apple CarPlay. Press play on exclusive podcasts and listen live 24/7 anywhere you go. Download the app or update to the current version to get access. The Talk 107.3 app is presented by Lake Urgent Care. Urgent care or walk-in care for minor illnesses and injuries. Great write-up last Wednesday at the Daily Report or the Business Report, talking about economic wins, economic momentum, and are we keeping the workforce up to go along with it? The Business Report citing the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. So let's welcome in the head of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Will Green's on with us. How are you, man?
Brian, I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Not as well as the business momentum around the state. So figured after last Wednesday's write-up, probably a good time to check on overall. What's the latest with LA Driven?
Yeah, Brian. So just to kind of recap a little bit or set the table here for the discussion, as you know, a couple years ago, as we had a new governor coming in, new commissioner of administration, new attorney general, new insurance commissioner, new leadership in the House and Senate, all coming in at a time where we were just not seeing the kind of economic growth across the South that other states were seeing. We, as the head of the state chamber, or as the state chamber of commerce and state manufacturing association, we did not want to hand them some dusty old playbook, right? We wanted to come together with our members and experts and local chambers, and we wanted to hand them a strategic plan that, if accomplished over the next 5 to 7 years, we knew would move the state, and that our state would be an economic force across the South, right?
Yes.
And so, but we didn't want to just hand them that plan and put it up on a shelf somewhere and have it collect dust. We wanted to pass legislation under that plan, both internally and then also, there was things we wanted to do outside of the Capitol as well. But we also wanted to benchmark. We wanted to check in every year to see, was the plan working? Were we being successful? And so we released our latest benchmarking report at our annual meeting a few weeks ago. And I think that report shows that we are, in fact, making a ton of progress, right? I mean, we've got certainly work left to do, Brian, but of the 9 goals that we set forth in that report, we are making significant progress towards those 9 goals. And in fact, we've already achieved 2 of the goals, and then we're very close. We've almost achieved 4 of those goals. And then we reported a couple of those goals. We've got a lot of work left to do.
Okay, let's talk about the goals that have been achieved. What of the goals have been achieved thus far?
Yeah, so 2 goals that we've already achieved in just 2 years. And in just 2 years, we passed 100 legislative measures that fall under the LA-driven strategic plan, sort of legislation that we branded LA-driven legislative measures. These are recommendations that if you go to ladriven.org, you can read the strategic plan, and they're recommendations under that plan, and 100 bills have been passed. And so Two of those goals that we've already reached are, we wanted to get to the middle third of states in job creation. And so, if your listeners are probably not surprised that goal has been reached when they hear, the billions of dollars in projects and in economic development that have been announced, right? I mean, you just heard a week ago about the $1 billion project and the Amazon project that's been announced, and that comes on the heels of Woodside and CF Industries and the Hyundai steel plant and the Meta project up in North Louisiana. And look, those are just the $1 billion headline projects, right? I mean, those aren't the other massive expansions and other projects that have also been announced over the last couple of years. And so it's no surprise that we are creating jobs in the thousands that just really before haven't been created, or projects that really haven't been announced, that those projects would have gone to other states in years past. And then those jobs that we're creating, those are high wage, high skill, high demand jobs. And so with that, our goal was to create high wage jobs and become at the middle third of states and creating some of those high wage jobs. And so we've reached that goal as well, Brian. So those are two goals that we wanted to reach over the next 5 to 7 years, and we've already accomplished those two goals.
You've on strengthening job creation, the state's now up to 24th, so it's not just middle third; it's top half technically.
That's right.
That's a solid number right there. And as far as the accelerating wage growth is concerned, that's just for the new jobs, right? I mean, it's not. We haven't seen any kind of residual trickle down effect where the rest of the market has to keep up with where the rest of the wages are.
Correct. Yeah, that's new job growth, new wages, right? And so that's what's so incredible about some of these announcements, right? I mean, when you hear all the jobs that are created, right? I mean, these are jobs that are $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year jobs.
Oh yeah, yeah. And one of the potential residuals of this is, as time wears on and contracts get re-upped, you're going to see trickle down in the market that says, if I want to keep up with the new employers, old employers are going to have to step their game.
Yeah, no, look, rising tides raises all boats in this situation, right? And so employers look, they've got to compete. And so again, I mean, that's supply and demand.
We're talking with Will Green, the president and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, talking about the LA Driven plan. What is the latest update here? Will, you said those are the two goals that have been accomplished. Are we not there yet on improving third grade reading proficiency? Because I feel like our numbers have been skyrocketing.
Yeah. So very close. So we said that if we can get to 66% overall on our third grade reading, that's going to be our target, right? And so we're already in just year 2 at 62%.
Okay.
And so as you know, we had a long way to go there, and we made better strides on third grade reading than about any other state. Maybe, I believe, other than maybe Mississippi, on our read math. And so very, very close there. That's very similar to like our graduation rate, right? I mean, Another goal was we want to graduate 88% of our students in Louisiana. We unfortunately were just not graduating a high enough percentage of our high school students in Louisiana. And so we came in, and one of our goal was we want to graduate 88%. In just 2 years, we've improved our graduation rate to 85%. So we're not quite there, but almost there. And so in both reading and improving our high school graduation rates, again, these are 5 to 7 year goals. In just 2 years, we've almost met both of those goals.
Which I think it's worth talking about that specifically, because when you talk about, okay, so from the time that LA Driven was implemented till now, we've gotten up to 85% from 80, I believe it was 83 point. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, 83.2%. So you could say on the one hand, that's an increase of 2%, but you can also say that when this goal was implemented, these kids were already in 10th grade. I mean, the horse is almost back to the barn at that point on high school.
Yeah, and look, remember when we started doing this report, I mean, this was a few years ago, our education climate, we were in the 40s, right?
Right.
We moved down to the 30s. You have to remember when we were doing this, we were, one of the worst states for doing business, losing more population than we were gaining, 40s in taxes. We had 3 of the top 10 violent crime cities in the country.
Yep.
And we just weren't seeing the kind of economic growth across the South that other states were seeing. And so for that reason, we knew that we couldn't just, put together the same old plan. We couldn't throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see what stuck. We wanted to come with a transformational plan to hand to these new leaders that were elected with a mandate to change the state.
Talking with Will Green, the president and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. So that naturally walks us up, Will, to where we're lacking right now. Where I shouldn't say lacking because the plan does span out until 2030. So where are we shifting our focus to? Are we shifting our focus? And if so, where is it headed?
Yeah, so I mean, a couple other ones that I want to mention because we did talk about, look, quality of life is such a big deal, right? I mean, the plan was set out to make Louisiana a more attractive and a more affordable place to do business, right? And so as we look at being a more attractive place, right, crime rates, time and time again, when you look, when talent looks to come, relocate, when business looks to grow, right, they look at, how safe is a place, okay? And so we put as one of our 9 goals, let's make our state a safer place. And we have made significant progress on reducing violent property crime by 12 and 13%. Mm-hmm. The ultimate goal is 15%. But, look, in just 2 years, almost getting there is pretty significant. And I think that's a testament to not only the legislature's focus on making, on accountability measures on criminal justice reform, transparency measures, but also on some of the reentry measures, right? On legislation like making sure that GED programs are offered in prison. And then also things, Brian, that we've talked about before, right? That you and I probably take for granted, that upon release from prison, ex-offenders have access to an ID or a birth certificate so that when they go to apply for a job, obviously, that's the first thing people ask for, right? Yeah. Is a proof of identification. And a lot of times these ex-offenders don't have that. And so they can't complete that job application. And so it just makes it that much easier to go back to that, go back to the old neighborhood, go hang out on the old block, right? And just reoffend. And so we want to make it that much more difficult with simple solutions to go back to the life of crime, right? And so simple solutions like that we're focusing on to try to reduce crime here in Louisiana. And then a couple of things, like you said, that we've got a lot of work left to do on is we're still losing our working age population at a high number here in Louisiana. And so what we found is that we're still losing that 25 to 65 year age range of population in Louisiana. And then we still have one of the lowest labor force participation rates in Louisiana as well. And so one of the highest in the South. And so how do we keep our best and brightest in Louisiana? And then how do we get able-bodied citizens working? And so that's one of the priorities we have at the Capitol this year is that focus on cradle to career pathways, internships. We've got legislation this year that we've modeled after Michigan on creating a fund that if you're an employer and you've proven that you are filling a needs-based job, skilled labor, you can look at tapping into a potential fund at the state level for upskilling, reskilling, training, or to help offset the cost of a paid internship. Because, Brian, here's what we know. Here's what the studies overwhelmingly show is that if you can get a talent into a paid internship, they stay in the job, which means they stay here in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. They come out earning more money, and employers point to us that kids really are coming out of high school and they're coming into the labor force not prepared unless they come out of an internship. So the employers get a talented individual prepared for the workforce. Yeah. So it's a win for the state. It's a win for the employer. And like I said, they come out earning more money. So it's a win for the talent. And so that's one of the ways that we think we can solve this labor force participation rate, and we can keep that 25 to 65-year-old population in the state.
Why, and the things that these all dovetail together. This goals 4 through 9 are basically like an Olympics symbol of a Venn diagram. Because if you are if you are making the streets safer by helping folks on their way out of prison, you're probably also making them more job ready on the way out of prison, which simultaneously increases labor participation rate while reducing recidivism. If you are making kids more job ready with internships on the way, out of high school, then you are increasing labor participation rate straight out of high school as well. I mean, all these things dovetail together.
Yeah. Look, a lot of those dots connect.
Yeah. Well, it starts Monday. We're going to have some fun. He's Will Green, President and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. That's where we're going to pick up the conversation next time. Always appreciate the time.
Thanks, Brown. Have a great week.
You too. Absolutely. And yeah, when you talk about that labor participation rate, it is glaringly low. We are under 60%. Bottom 10 in the nation on that front. So still work to be done, but it's always nice to touch base on a few things where we actually are seeing progress. We're at 650 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Quick break. We got This Day in History next. Boodle-a-doo, ba-doodle-doodle-doo. Oh, excuse me. 7:55. Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Going to get you this day in history in just a quick second. Got to remind you about the folks at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website. They're right here at Baton Rouge off Bluebonnet Boulevard. I send you the website first because it's important to get a little bit more than the explanation that I give on the air. If you're battling with anxiety or depression, you know how exhausting it is. You know the constant fight or flight battle that you're facing when it comes to seemingly everything in your life. It wears you out, and anxiety leads to depression. And sometimes the sit down, talk it out therapy doesn't really take. Sometimes you get the prescription meds and they make you feel awful, or they just straight up don't work. This is where Neurojust comes in. They specialize in transcranial magnetic stimulation, targeting the areas of the brain that affect mood, and over a few handful of sessions can bring you back down to where, or bring you back up to where those constant rough seas that are sloshing around in your head just get smooth and clear. You learn more about TMS therapy, and think of it like physical therapy for the mind. TMS therapy, learn more about it at neurojust.com. Oh, by the way, insurance will pick up the tab on this. Neurojust, Neurojust, neurojust.com.
All right.
Yes.
Jumping ahead.
Jump ahead.
For the good stuff. We got to get into the good stuff.
Okay,
All
what's
right.
the good stuff?
Well, 1967, Ronald Reagan is sworn in as governor of California.
Awesome. That is good stuff.
Love it.
Yes, very, very much so.
Love it, love it. 1974, U.S. President Richard Nixon.
Whoa. You don't have anything before?
I do, but it's hold on. It's nothing worth a dang. I mean, to be
Oh,
able to.
my butt.
Okay, go ahead.
The celebration of Mardi Gras arrived in Louisiana with two Canadian brothers, Pierre Lemoyne Sieur de Iberville and Jean-Baptiste Lemoyne Sieur de Bienville. Sent by Louis XIV to secure the territory of La Louisiane for France, the brothers' expedition entered the mouth of the Mississippi River on the evening of Monday, March 2nd, 1699. You know what that means? That means they found the Mississippi mouth of the Mississippi today. That means tomorrow was the first Mardi Gras.
Oh, that is good
Chew
stuff.
on that, Mobile.
Right. Mobile always likes to say they do it better. Always.
No, they like to say they did it first.
I know. And they do it better.
Oh, they're full
of baloney.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. 1974, U.S. President Richard Nixon signs the Emergency Highway Energy Conservation Act, instituting a national 55-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Whatever. This day in 1962, Wilt Chamberlain scored 100.
Ooh.
This day in 1874, the batter's box was adopted in baseball.
Ooh.
Right?
See, you got better stuff than
Before
me.
that, you could just stand wherever you wanted to. I don't know why you would. I mean, you're not going to reach the plate with your bat if you don't have a batter's box.
Right.
Unless you're standing on the plate.
So they just randomly just stood places
I don't know.
on the field?
I didn't play a lot of baseball before that.
Huh.
But,
All right, let's see. I have to throw this in. 1981, British serial killer. He was known as Yorkshire Ripper, is arrested, ending one of the largest manhunts in UK history.
Okay.
The Ripper. Really?
This isn't Jack the Ripper.
No.
This is the Yorkshire Ripper.
Yorkshire. Yorkshire. 2016, Bob Dylan sold his personal archive of notes full of just smoking, I'm sure.
Okay.
Draft lyrics, poems, artwork, and photography.
Okay.
The 6,000 item collection also included master recordings of smoking.
This day in 1965, Sound of Music dropped.
Okay, on
we
that
got
note.
less than 2 minutes.
All right, 2021 U.S. President Donald Trump says to Georgia's Secretary of State, I just want to find 11,000 something votes, which is one more than we have. Remember that?
I do remember that.
All right, birthdays today. Let's see. Hold on. I had it. Let me pull it back up. Justin Biebs, 32.
Really?
Kesha, 39. Who else you got?
39, really?
Yeah.
I got John Bon Jovi, 64. Reggie Bush is 41. Daniel Craig is 58. Mikhail Gorbachev was born on this day in 1931. Dr. Seuss in 1904. And Lou Reed in 1942.
Dr. Seuss. I don't really have notable deaths. What
Neither
about
do
you?
I don't either.
All right, we're going to skip that. National Day today, if it'll pull up. National If Pets Had Thumbs Day.
No. I have National Egg McMuffin Day, which I love and hate. Because I love a sausage, egg, and cheese egg McMuffin, right?
Love it.
But at the same time, though, we don't need a day for that.
No. Out of here.
I could have shortened up the Mardi Gras thing. I went too long with it. No, I know, but I went too long with it. That's on me. Oh.
So he goes, pull up a playlist, pull up Sunday and press play. And I'm like, I am pressing play. I'm like, nothing's happening. So he's up here. He's like, I'll be there in 10 minutes. That's
So,
how to get back to Brian.
From now on, the first Monday of the month, we're going to have to move this day in history up because of the BREC thing. We can't do Nolan Company at 8:35 on Monday. So,
And Nolan Company is always on Monday.
First Monday and like the third Friday or something like that. They come on their deal is twice a month. All right, so we can do recycle that. Yes, ma'am. Studio. Hey, Walt, it's Brian. My producer had to jump out for a minute, so got a lot to cover here. Do you have anything in particular you want to start with? Okay. Okay. Yeah, definitely. And then I want to make sure we get this sale 250 as well. So, all right, cool. Hang tight.
good. Sorry. I wanted to be able to learn that board. Which I know is not the time to do it, but it's major issues that are above me, so I'm out. Did we answer him?
Yeah. That's not Will, it's Walt. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing. Starting off your third hour at 54 degrees in downtown. Starting off the 8 o'clock hour at 54 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We got Moon and Griffon coming up in our next segment. We got the folks at BREC after that for the BREC room. We start off the third hour, though, by checking in down in New Orleans with Walt Leger for New Orleans & Company. Walt, how are you, man?
Fantastic, Brian. Good morning. How are you?
Doing very well as well. First time getting you on since Mardi Gras. Which, by the way, thanks again for the digs on Toth Sunday, man. Y'all had it set up nice.
Yeah, thank you for passing by. It was great to see you. And Toth Sunday was beautiful. All of Mardi Gras this year, we were beneficiaries of great weather and really great crowds, particularly from the region, the super region, and around the state. I think that's something that we were as excited to see as anything. I mean, the numbers were big, but the numbers across the state and the region were big. And we've been trying to build that back for some time. It was great that people felt welcome and I think had a great time in our city again, and speaks to some of the positive momentum happening in the community.
Well, and to go along with that, it's just the way an earlier Mardi Gras plays out. You never really know until you get there. And this one, I mean, it's just, y'all kind of had to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, Mardi Gras is unpredictable in some ways because, one, we know that a little bit more than half of the people who come in to visit are going to be coming in from more than 250 miles away.
Right.
But that leaves almost another half of people who are distinctly in our region in the drive distance, and they're kind of playing it by ear, waiting to see what the weather looks like, what other factors look like. And that's an important segment of visitation. It really helps the businesses across our community. Certainly helps with revenue collection for the city, the state, and the other parishes in the area. And beyond that, just creates a lot of economic activity for individuals in our community who work in different businesses that are impacted by it. So it's great to have the success of what the data's shown is about 2.2 million visits to the city. That could be the same person on a couple of different occasions, but more than 1 million and 1.2, 1.3 million people who actually individuals who visited the area for Mardi Gras this year, a big uptick from last year, and really getting us back to the 2020 levels, which was before COVID. So that's exciting to see.
Be 1.2 million out-of-town visitors, if I'm not mistaken, was a pretty big jump over Mardi Gras 2025.
20% increase. Wow. And, that's huge. Also, consider we did have President's Day on Lundi Gras this year, which allowed people who were coming in to extend their stay a bit. And so that was a nice benefit to have. But overall, I think this speaks to improved public safety, improved coordination of law enforcement between city, state, and then even federal officials. And we want to continue that trend in the future where we have a safe Mardi Gras for everyone who lives in the area. And of course, for those who visit as well. So very exciting to see that kind of activity once again.
So next year's Mardi Gras going to be even earlier than this year's Mardi Gras. How do we go about the plan of attack to get the word out that we want to sell Mardi Gras to those 1.2 million and grow that number?
Yeah, I think we just continue to stay out there early with high quality content. I think we created a lot this year and have pushed that out, and we'll continue. The crazy thing about the way things work in the city, though, is we get past Mardi Gras, and on Wednesday, on Ash Wednesday, we had 15,000 young athletes coming in with USA Volleyball.
Oh yeah.
It was insane, and so the things just keep on rolling. I think 9,000 athletes, 15,000 spectators. So over 20,000 people, and that was on Ash Wednesday when people were sort of finally getting past the Mardi Gras push. So
right.
We've got 15,000 orthopedic surgeons wrapping up right now that they've had a great conference, and we've got another several thousand loading in today and tomorrow for another conference coming in. So no rest for the weary. We just keep pressing and excited to have them here and welcome them to the community to do amazing things. We've got a lot coming for the rest of the year as well.
Well, and one day after the volleyball started off, the Maestri Classic started off as well.
Yep, that was a great event. We were able to not only host a college baseball tournament, we also had the Miracle League down there, and the players really engaging. It was a really special night, and in honor of Walter, of Coach Maestri, and really proud of that event. We want to keep growing it, creating opportunities for college baseball to thrive in the greater New Orleans area.
Talk with Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company about some of the numbers from Mardi Gras before we move forward. I will pitch this one, Walt. Wherever y'all advertise for next year's Mardi Gras, the tagline needs to be "It's colder where you are."
Yeah,
because no matter where, February 9th, it's gonna be cold everywhere else. So,
yeah, no, we're on it. We definitely want to lean into the great weather that we've generally got that time of year. We'll hope we'll get something similar to this year.
One more on Mardi Gras before we close out. Can you give me a minute on the Recycle That program? Because I don't know how familiar we are with it just an hour down the road.
Yeah, no, thank you. We're really proud of this. Our team helped to build this with Grounds Crew, a nonprofit that's been really focused on renewable type Mardi Gras throws, and Glass Half Full and other community organizations, as well as the city of New Orleans, created it. This was the 4th year. This year, over 40,000 pounds of parade waste was recycled. Wow. That was through the first week alone, and we will likely surpass the more than 80,000 pounds this year. That's clear. That's glasses. That's Mardi Gras beads. It's other things thrown along the parade route, and we've really gotten a lot of great notice on this. Journalists around the world have written on it. We're continuing to push this as a trend, and I think we're seeing a lot of the Mardi Gras crews also adjust to it with trying to buy local products that are a little more usable. You see people throwing things like red beans and rice packets, or other consumable products. A lot of people throwing crawfish trays this year, which I think is great. We caught a few, and we've already put them to use a couple of times. Things that are useful as opposed to just sort of things. And what we've done is worked really hard around the parade route to collect the waste, recycle it, divert it from the dumps, and just kind of keep things moving. And really proud of the effort there from the city, the community partners like Grounds Crew and Glass Half Full, and of course our team to help promote it as well.
We got about 4 minutes left with Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company. I got to ask you about, this is our nation's 250th anniversary. Tell me all about Sale 250.
Yeah, just last week we got to announce and really kick this off. And if you want more information, neworleans.com, Sale 250 for more info. But Sale 250 is really our opportunity here in our area to help kick off America 250. And so May 27th through June 1st, we're going to be hosting ships from around the world. We'll be calling on the port of New Orleans, and then later moving on to ports in Norfolk, Baltimore, New York City, and end up in Boston right after the 4th of July. We're going to have we're going to have both tall ships and also military vessels from nations like the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, and Uruguay. Incredible visitor experience, free tours on the decks of all these ships on multiple days, family-friendly environment, food, music, culture, of course. The seafood kickoff this year will be incorporated into it. That'll be at the new restaurant Delacroix right there at Spanish Plaza, as well as live entertainment, educational exhibits, local food vendors, and a lot of other things to take advantage of during that time. We expect to have a couple thousand crew members of these vessels in town. Want to show them a good time. They'll get to see things like National World War II Museum, Historic New Orleans Collection, of course, City Park and Audubon Nature Institute and Park as well. Great opportunity to highlight the maritime industry and the 250 years of history that our port and our city have meant to the world and to the United States. And so I like to remind people we're really indispensable to this nation in so many ways, connecting the heartland to the global economy, and being able to celebrate this with a tourism type event that's great for families, but also an event that can elevate the Port of New Orleans and just how special it is. I think it's going to be really fun. May 27th through June 1st. Really looking forward to people from around the area driving in, taking a part of that.
Now, is this something we need to be ticketed for? Is this something we need to purchase tickets for in advance, or can we just show up to take in, all the sites?
Yeah, no, just show up. It's a free event. We've been raising money, and our organization, led by Mark Romig, has been putting this together on behalf of the community. We've got a lot of great partners who have sponsored and put up funds to make this accessible for folks. And we're really pleased to have Host, which is a maritime logistics company, the New Orleans Saints, Oshner, and so many others who have stepped up, including the Port of New Orleans, many local law firms like Jones Walker, Keene Miller, and others, all major supporters of this event so that the public can access it. No ticket required. Just show up and be a part of it. More information on the website, of course, neworleans.com, sale 250.
We got about 2 minutes left with Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company. Tell me what's on tap, man. What else is coming up?
I want to really highlight for you the 5th annual New Orleans Book Festival too. This has been described at Tulane University as Mardi Gras for the mind. March 12th through 15th. Incredible authors, more than 250 of them, and storytellers from across the country, more than 100 sessions, a really special expanded family day on Sunday. So children's books and books for young people, as well as promotional activities and other things that promote literacy, learning, reading. And of course, it's a festival-like environment because it's in New Orleans. So great food and all of that at Tulane, March 12th through 15th, 5th annual New Orleans Book Festival. This is really becoming a national event with incredible people taking part. Also great for us locals. So not to mention all the other festivals coming up. So pay attention to festival season, which is rolling out. But Book Fest and Sale 250 really want to highlight for you this morning.
All right. I need to do a side-by-side on, because we have a book festival here in Baton Rouge. We got to do a little compare and contrast and get down there. Although I will say, as the book festival runs March 12th through 15th, on the 15th, I'm going to be walking up Metairie Road. So I got to get down there before that for sure.
Knock out some Book Fest and then get to Metairie Road, no doubt. That'll be a great weekend.
Little St. Patrick's Day weekend right there. He is Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company. We always appreciate the time, man. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian. Take care.
You too. We are at 8. Oh, we ran long. 8:18. Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break. Come back. We got Moon next. That's me trying to squeeze a 14-minute segment into 10 minutes, and it's just I know. Why? That's why I put it before Moon, is because we can. It's flexible.
Like, especially when he started talking about the book, I'm like, I can't cut you off.
No. Well, I knew that's where he was going. So. Oh, Sale 250 is going to be influencer driven, by the way. Like, when you talk about like selling New Orleans from the influencer and micro influencer standpoint, the pictures of the tall ships.
All these content creators and influencers.
Yep. Oh.
Oh, come on, Moon.
Oh. About to break some news, y'all. I'm gonna let him do it if he wants to, but if not, then I'm not breaking this. But That's him. 821 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Going to get the Moon Griffon here in just a second. Do need to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. You know where to find them. They're downtown on 3rd Street. Parking lots on the 4th Street side. Downtown on 3rd Street. Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center directly across the street from Tiger Stadium, or Highland just west of Kenilworth. Mathern's at Kenilworth, the old school Kenilworth supermarket. It's back in the Mathern's hands again. And oh, by the way, all 3 locations, can't emphasize this enough, y'all. If you haven't downloaded the app, download the app. Use it to earn cash towards more groceries every time you shop. Tell you, every time I'm working LSU, LSU Sports Radio, I pop into Mathern's. In fact, did so yesterday. Grabbed myself a nice little cheeseburger from, boy, I got a meaty big old cheeseburger over there. I know it's fantastic, unbelievable flavor as well. But yeah, I grabbed myself some lunch, or if you're doing your whole, knocking out the whole grocery list, you can do so at all 3 locations of Mathern's. All right, time to talk about everything under the sun with Moon. He's on with us now. How are you, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great. Sorry about that. I actually had my ringer off, and I looked down and saw his text message. Where are you? I apologize, man. That's all 100% on me.
All good, all good. And I ran a little bit long with Walt Leger in the previous segment, so we're kind of under the crunch here. We're 1 week away from the opening of the legislative session. Are you hearing anything other than workforce right now? Because it feels like that's the biggest push.
Well, I think what you're going to see in the rest of this week leading up to it, and you and me are going to be at the governor's deal during the show for a few extra hours as well.
Good.
But, no, Brian, there's a bill here and a bill there, and I've been having lawmakers on for the last week, and I got them coming on this week talking about different bills trying to make a difference. But I don't know if anything major is going to get out of this session. It looks like they put a lot of effort in the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly what the whole goal of the session is. I still think we're going to probably get into carbon capture. I just do. And that'd be an issue. And I still think there's going to be some people pushing some more changes in our insurance. I know insurance has gone down, but, State Farm decided to give $5 billion back across the whole country and all the markets they're in. And people are trying to take credit for that. But one of the things that people are not realizing that AI will affect some jobs. Brian, you can call your agent. I got an agent. I love my agent. She works for me. But they're making it to where you're going to be able to just pull up, hey, what's the best insurance quote for this? And you're going to pull it all up. It's going to be there. And you just fill it out and go. And that if they end up going to that, that's one of the reasons why maybe we're getting some refunds if you're a State Farm person. So I think that's got to be played into the fact of why there's been some discounts. I don't think it's because of reform has worked that quick.
Mm-hmm.
Is why we're getting refunds. I could be wrong, but I still think AI is going to play a big part of it.
Now it'll play somewhat of it, and us behaving on the roads plays into it as well. We'll have Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple on, I believe, Friday before the legislative session starts to go into further depth about that. It's a little of column A, little column B. When it comes to the reforms that we've put in, there is a measure of good faith that's accepted on the insurance company's parts to know that, when you see the bills that have passed, how it will affect projected losses. I mean, rates are based off of projected losses, right? So we'll see that. We're talking with Moon Griffon.
Between you and me, I hope what good they have done will affect some things. I don't agree with you 100% on that. But there were some things we missed out on. I know that they're bringing some other bills back in, but I just haven't seen in detail which ones are coming back.
I want to pivot over to the closed primaries that are coming up in May.
Yeah.
Moon. We continue to see the PAC ads about liberal Letlow, and she just doesn't seem to be swinging back yet. Have you heard any reason as to why?
No, and it's a question I've asked the same thing on the air. I heard they were getting ready to. I've seen some TV commercials,
mm-hmm.
and it really didn't swing back. They just basically said I'm the Trump endorsed candidate.
Right.
I know Fleming's running some radio, but Cassidy's on TV, and he's running pro-Trump ads as well.
Yeah.
So,
but
she is definitely and I want to say it's his PAC, whatever. A PAC is attacking her. I'm surprised they let it go 6 weeks and haven't responded yet.
Same.
I heard there's a big buy coming, radio, TV, and all this stuff that's going to fight back, but I have not seen it. But you've actually allowed somebody to determine who you are before you get out there and tell people who you are. And that's a problem.
No, it is. It is. And I know I've spoken to a number of people who really, really, really want to support Congresswoman Letlow in her bid for Senate. And they're like, where's the fight? I mean, is she not going to refute any of this? And if you don't,
I tell you what I have seen, and you may disagree, but I'm going most about what I hear in my polls, and I've said it on the radio program, that I think a lot of this is help Fleming, because there's definitely a bunch of people not voting for Cassidy.
Right.
And so here's the problem you got. You hit Letlow and they're not running the Cassidy. That board looks like they're shifting towards Fleming. And so it's just interesting to watch this, because Bill has a problem. Bill's problem is, how do you convince people to come back and love me? And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Where is that right now? Look, I'll be like you. I don't think he has a chance to win. He gets in a runoff, anything can happen, because Bill has the two luxuries. Number one, 100% name recognition. Number two, a lot of money.
Right.
So, but I don't see a way he gets to win. Now, every poll I see, he's still in the low 20s. Every single poll. And I even saw one, he was at 19.8. But let's just say there's an outlier that's got him at 30. It's going to be an outlier. I just don't see it right now. Now, what can he do to make people who already know him now all of a sudden say, you know what, I'm just going to stick with Cassidy? I don't know what he can do at this point.
Do you see an October? Let me make this a two-part question. Do you see any kind of October surprise? Well, it's a May primary, but do you see kind of May surprise either for the Senate race or the 5th Congressional District House race?
I don't know what else could pop up, but you know yourself, Brian, we watch this every year, year after year, and there's always a couple surprises. There's always a couple things that are going to be put up, and whether people can make things stick or not is going to be the question.
That is very carefully worded, sir.
It's carefully worded because I saw what they put out, and I'm kind of getting the kick out of it. When we go back and grab 20-year-old stories, I'm always leery of if you read into details of what's going on.
Well, I haven't talked about it all yet. I'm waiting for the big thing to be published. So,
well, I'm going to stay quiet on it for what I know for right now.
Okay.
But it's something that we will have to cover eventually.
Oh, 1,000%, absolutely, absolutely.
Eventually, you have no choice.
I'm not in the world of breaking that kind of news. So, in the meanwhile, I guess the answer to the question is yes. You can expect a May surprise in the 5th Congressional District race.
I tell you what, I could reverse and say, Brian, do you ever remember when we had an election that we didn't have something go haywire? And that would be, nope, we always have something that goes crazy at the end. And it's what people believe, because remember, perception's reality in politics, and I don't care what the perception is.
Yeah, and in the meanwhile, it's a third party that's supposed to be independent, where it's coming from. So what you got on the show today?
We got that. I've got a couple of national guests lined up. Trump and Israel, we bombed Iran. It looks like we've hurt them bad. My concern's always, we had 4 years of illegals coming across this country. Who snuck into this country that don't like us? And my concern will always be the United States of America and our people. And I don't want anybody hurt, but, you basically really popped Iran. But Iran's always been the devil. Iran does dirty work for China, Russia, and everybody. So I still like to keep reading while we hit them, but it looks like we hit them for the right reason. So I'm going to have at least 2 national guests just talking about that.
Good deal. You catch him from 9 to noon right here on Talk 107.3 FM and everywhere statewide. He is Moon Griffon. Always appreciate the time, man. We'll see you next Monday. Oh, no, we'll see you tomorrow.
Wednesday
Tomorrow. Pelican Institute. That's right. We'll see you then.
All right, bud.
Here's news. All right. He knows what I know. Confirm that. That was nope. Those words of accusation do not come out of my mouth. I am not about to jump on that sword.
And I did not have sexual rhythm. I'm joking.
Well, no, his argument is everything. who's stepping out when I can step out?
I can do either one.
Good morning. Good. How was your weekend?
I rested this weekend. I pretty much tried to stay in bed.
Me too.
I had a bunch of crap going on. I brought my
Okay.
earphones.
You need a
That won't
quarter-inch adapter.
Okay.
Which it looks like they came with it. See that little screw-on piece right there?
Hold on, see if this one works. Will that work?
This is
Good,
screw-on.
good. Yep.
Now, let me move mine over here.
Yeah, let's see if it works. Did it work?
No, that's that one. It should work.
I can't see.
There we go. There we go. I can hear.
Perfect.
You didn't bring yours?
No, I didn't bring mine today.
I didn't see our.
The radio?
No, let me knock out my
It's 16.
What?
Can you send it to me?
Yeah.
It's like a little backup left on the I-12 approach in particular, but only adding 2 minutes to drive time there. We do have an accident south on 110 but coming right shoulder, no lane block.
In your inbox.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery charging and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone. This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Closing on a home? Mid-City Title makes it super simple. Mobile closings, expert service. MidCityTitle.com.
I know it's chilly in here now.
Just a little, but that's good.
It was super hot last week, so we get that fixed too well. 8:35, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Going to get you to the BREC room in a quick second. I do need to remind you about One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. Look, if you live in a house that's, 30, 40, 50 years old, give it a look, because priorities then when that house was built are not what they are today, and you're not getting the most out of the function of your home if you have an outdated closet or an outdated bathroom. Christian and I went through this. Our house was built in 64. We had a 1964 bathroom as a master bath. That wasn't cutting it at all. Sharing the same vanity, got that old school tub. No. We called David Duvall at 400-8005. Called David Duvall at, of course, 225-400-8005. So what can you do over here? He walked through the process. Implementation was flawless, and we could not be happier with the results. Got the walk-in shower now. It's fantastic. We're not sharing vanities. The lighting is unbelievably improved. OneBathAndClosets.com. All right, time for the BREC room. Let's hit it. Time to welcome back to the studio, as we do every Monday. We got Janet Simmons and Maurice Velasquez. How y'all doing this morning?
Good.
Morning.
Very good.
Doing well.
Back at it again. We got rocking and rolling. We've got a stacked up. We got to squeeze a lot to a half hour here, y'all. Which is it's good to be the case. Like we're kind of hitting a lot of topics every week. I want to start off moving quickly so we can get to our first guest as soon as possible. Give me a quick hit on. Let's talk about the Perkins Master Plan has been approved.
Approved by the commissioners on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic program. We're going to be announcing it as to even more so on our website what it all contains. It's really nice.
When you say Perkins, this is Perkins at Kenilworth?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So that project's going to be it's going to go on in phases.
Okay.
So we're going to start probably with the stadium, Olympia Stadium.
Okay, well, it's such a fantastic property. They cover so much more ground than I think people realize.
A lot.
If you got kids that run cross country, you know that for sure.
That's right.
But I mean, you got, the skateboarding up in front. You got Olympia right down the middle, which does it could use a little bit of a facelift there, and then everything on the backside as well. As I understand it, some folks over at BREC are about to get a raise.
So it's interesting because I know that everybody talked about the RIF, which is the reduction in force, and there was a question and confusion about why we did that. And the purpose of the RIF was to streamline all of our efforts and really tighten up things. It wasn't because we didn't have enough money to pay people. And part of the RIF in the plan was for us to be able to pay those who stayed a higher fare. So I think it's a really good thing for the BREC employees.
Yeah, you're able to truly take care of the ones who are still, getting it done on a daily basis.
Sure, absolutely.
We've got, as we're moving through quickly here, Airline Highway. There's a stakeholder meeting coming up.
Yeah, it is March 19th. The location is not yet determined. We'll announce that in the next week or so. That's to announce the plans for the Airline Highway redo or the remake, the master plan.
Is this on the same day as the St. George community meeting?
I don't believe so.
I don't think
this
so.
is the St. George.
Oh, this
community.
is the same.
That's it.
Okay, all right. Those two are one.
Yeah,
and the
it is
same.
the community meeting, and we invite everybody from the public, anybody really in the whole parish, especially of course in St. George, to come out and talk to us. We'll show the plans. It's going to be it's a robust meeting. It's going to be held in Santa Maria, or it's going to be at the St. George Firehouse, the headquarters.
Love that headquarters, by the way.
Yeah,
they got some fantastic meeting space on the backside, to be sure. It was a makeshift city hall for a hot minute. So before they found their own digs. I got the email over the weekend, although I don't think my kids are going to a BREC camp this year. It's this might be the
they've
first.
kind of aged out.
They have absolutely aged out, but I got the email already.
Yep.
Registration's open.
Starts on March 7th.
Okay.
The registration is March 7th.
Yep.
See, I didn't read the email. I just saw the email and just moved on. That's
March
that's
7th.
on me.
So
March,
9 o'clock, March 7th.
All right.
Get ready.
Give us just a quote for those that are unfamiliar with the summer camp program, just a couple of quick hits as to what it
All
looks like.
kinds of different things that we offer: art camp, athletic camp, outdoor adventure camp. I mean, we have adaptive camp for kids with disabilities. There's so many different opportunities. Independence has the camps there for people that are interested in theater and those kinds of things. So there's so many different opportunities for kids.
We are rolling along with the BREC room. Maurice Velasquez and Janet Simmons in the house with us. I am going to, we're going to pivot, bring in a guest real quick, if we could. Rob Dowie. He's with SELA. Y'all know SELA, if you've ever seen the lifeguards out there all decked out in red, although Rob's in blue today. But as summer camp is approaching, well, as temperatures get warmer, that means we need to talk a little Liberty Lagoon and whatnot. So talk to us a little bit about what we're going to see with, I tell you what, let's start within Liberty Lagoon. Let's start with the newly refinished slides. What are we looking at?
Oh, yep, definitely. So it's crazy to believe that summer's right around the corner and that it's somehow or another 75 degrees outside. But here we are. We are excited that at the Thursday commission meeting, the commission awarded a contract to refurbish all the slides at Liberty Lagoon. So all 5 of those slides, most of them that were built with the original construction of Liberty Lagoon, are getting totally redone on the inside and cosmetically on the outside. So it's going to look like brand new water slides.
Very, very cool stuff. And you don't think about when you put up a water park, you don't think that those kinds of upgrades are needed on a regular basis.
Yeah, definitely. And along with that, we part of that agreement is that they'll get an annual maintenance for preventative maintenance and safety inspections.
Okay.
So we're excited about that.
Cool stuff. Rob Dowie with SELA is our guest as we're talking about Liberty Lagoon and what's to come. Let's talk about, you got new capacity standards as well.
Yes. So some of the major feedback that we've heard in the past from our visitors was that the park was overrun or too many people, and they felt like there was just a lot going on. And so one of our priorities this summer is to make it more of a family experience, where if you want to bring your family to the park, you don't feel like you're getting swallowed and lost with the crowd, that it's a more enjoyable experience for you. I would relate it to, instead of feeling like you're going to Liberty Lagoon or Disney World during the Christmas season, maybe going in the slow season, and that's what people want to target as the day they choose to go.
Can you go into how that works, or is that something we need to wait till closer to summertime for?
I think just in general, we're going to be incorporating an online point of sale and ticket sales.
Yeah.
So that's going to help with a lot of it. Of course, capacity is set not just by the fire marshal, but also by the number of lifeguards we have on duty, which I think we'll get to at some point during this conversation.
Yeah.
The staffing, and things like what items are working in terms of if all the slides are online, if the surf machine is online. So it's pretty flexible throughout the day.
Yeah.
And so how many staff we have scheduled, for instance, might determine the upper limit. But the general philosophy of this is that we are going into this saying that instead of having, let's say, 800 people in the park at a time, we want to scale that back down maybe to 650 around that point. And that, again, that's flexible because the fire marshal might allow 1,100, but it's not just about physical safety and space. It's about people enjoying their time in the park.
Well, and you brought up the lifeguard into that. And look, being popular is a good problem to have.
Right.
That's,
definitely.
That's always a plus to be sure.
3 or 4 days a week we were hitting capacity last year. Wow. And then you have, it's all done at the ticket window in the past. So you'd have 200 to 300 people waiting in a line out front. So our goal is to kind of stem that by having the ability to go on the website and see, don't get in your car and drive over to Liberty Lagoon right now because we're at capacity.
So, and that's the way to roll right there, because if I'm taking the kids out there, we get out there, I'm probably going to lean towards, let's just rough it out, see if anybody else goes home, as opposed to, if I check it online before leaving, I'm just not going to make the trip that day, and probably would look to book for the next day or something.
Definitely. And something else that goes along with this is the past few years we've done sessions.
Okay.
And so people could come from let's say 11 to 2, and then we'd have another session from 3 to 7. Now it's a full day pass. So when you buy a ticket, you can go for the whole day, which we're going to be open from 12 to 6 days a week. We'll be closed on Tuesdays. And the pricing now will vary. So in the past, if you wanted to come into the park, even though your child was 3.5 feet tall and they couldn't ride any of the rides, they were paying the same price as the adult. And so now there will be kind of a, what do you want and what do you want to add on? There's 3 different levels. You'll be able to get just an entrance ticket just to get into the park, which is basically the lazy river and the play area. So if you have maybe young ones, that might be a good ticket. If you want to add on the slides, that will be a slightly different ticket cost. And then for those people who enjoy extreme water conditions, such as the surfing machine, they can add on that ticket as well. So this is all access.
This is twofold as to the benefit here, because it's not just for the little ones, but for the grown-up who's just there, doesn't plan on participating in anything, just hauling the kids out there.
Yeah, for safety reasons, we don't want parents dropping their kids off at the water park.
Oh,
we want the parents in the water park.
Totally.
So now they might say, I'm going to put my kids on the slide, I'm going to put my kids on the surfing machine, but I don't want to do that, so they don't have to pay that ticket price.
Rob Dowie's our guest. He's with SELA. They handle the lifeguarding duties out at Liberty Lagoon and a few other spots. Rob, I'm going to ask you about, you mentioned we'd circle back to lifeguards. How's recruitment going this year?
Yeah, so this is a hot topic around the whole country. I think if you were to spend a moment on Google searching this, you'd see how big of an issue this is. I have friends at the Red Cross who tell me they're certifying, less than half the number of lifeguards they were certifying pre-COVID. And I think that's a relevant fact. I don't know if that's the exact number, but that tells a story. We started January 1st with our recruitment, and we're well underway with that. We have different positions available. So we don't just have lifeguard positions, but we also have a deep water lifeguard position, which is a little bit different. That will qualify to work in the deeper parts of the facility. We also have slide attendant positions to do dispatch at the top, which does not require any sort of swimming knowledge or experience. We have guest services positions, and also we have a food position through a third-party vendor, which we can talk about if you like.
I'm keeping one eye on the clock. Time's a little bit short. We got 2 minutes left. I want to use these last 2 minutes for just whatever updates there are throughout the rest of the system.
Yeah, so I think people who go to Liberty Lagoon this summer are going to notice through the combination of efforts with the new slides or the renovated slides, both sides of the flow rider, which is our surf machine, are going to be operating. Everything's going to be pressure washed. We're going to have new signage. We have an online ticketing process. We have a touchless security system at the front, like you'd see at Disney Springs, where you don't even have to take your bag off your back. You can just walk through. We've partnered with Allied Security, like you'd see at an LSU game, to help us at the front gate so that we don't just have a seasonal teenager going through your bag and checking things. And so the overall experience, along with the fact that we are partnering with Cityport Catering to operate our food within the park, is going to be a total new vibe for the community. It's no longer. I think people who went last year versus people who go this year are going to see noticeable differences across all aspects of the park.
City Port Catering.
That's right.
That's
So,
a big win.
Fun fact about City Port Catering is they have a very large group of staff that do operations for like Catholic High School and St. Michael's.
Yeah.
Well, those people that are working there, those schools are not open over the summer. So it's a
Okay.
great fit for them to come in
Win-win
and help
across the
us
board.
with our food and beverage. So that should be streamlined, more efficient, and also better food.
He is Rob Dowie with SELA. We are due up for a quick break. On the back end of the break, we're going to talk about some of the progress when it comes to the operational efficiencies within BREC. Stephen Knight's going to hop on right where Rob was sitting. But like I said, we are due up for a break. We're going to check traffic. We're going to check your money now. Coming right back after this. This is the BREC room. You don't have traffic.
Just your money now.
Oh. Okay. Well, then I mistimed that by a full minute. I tell you what, Maurice, let me I'm looking at the clock. I don't think we're gonna have enough time to get into any the community stuff on the back end.
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, okay.
That's fine.
Well, then we'll hit the your money now, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of those operational efficiencies. Stephen Knight is going to join us in just a quick minute. I do have 20 seconds though, so I will use them to remind you. We talked to Moon Griffon in our last segment. Whether it's Baton Rouge blunders or DC drama, Moon's got the hot takes and hometown humor to keep you laughing and thinking. No fluff, no filter, just Moon being Moon. Listen and subscribe on all your favorite platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. You can also catch every episode at talk1073.com. The Moon Griffon podcast coming your way daily. All right. Your Money Now is coming up, which means we will be back in exactly 2 minutes on Talk 1073 FM. Oops. Okay, well then from now on we're off. $8:52, Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along the BREC room. We do this every Monday, getting caught up on everything going on over at BREC. Want to pivot real quick, talk a little bit about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that's been going on. Stephen Knight joins us. How are you, man?
I am doing.
Let's get you right up on the mic.
Sorry about that. Doing very well. Yeah.
There's a lot going on your front that we're not going to see on a day-to-day basis that gets overlooked, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of what we're talking about is that back end operational efficiency, which is a sort of scary, sort of obtuse topic. But basically, what we're doing is ensuring that we line up the right people in the right places, doing the right things for the parish.
What does that look like?
what that looks like is a deep dive into their individual positions, making sure that, BREC is an organization that's been around for a very long time. We have these positions and we have these roles and we're doing these things that were, 10 years ago what we were doing, but we are trying to modernize ourselves and get ourselves to provide the solutions that people are looking for now. And so what that looks like is diving deep into these individual departments, looking at these roles and determining if they're necessary, retasking them if they aren't, bolstering them, in that manner.
Yeah, I mean, the park system of the 80s is not necessarily the park, or is definitely not the park system of today.
Absolutely.
What are we finding along the way?
What we're finding, and I think, to the credit of everyone down in the field, we're finding that they're doing their jobs. And we're finding that they're doing their jobs well, but what they lack is the tools and the access. And what we're also finding is that there's a visibility gap. Management can't see all of the work that's happening down there. And so what we're looking at, I'm in IS, and what we're doing is we're going to be providing the tools so that they can see what's happening. So if you can imagine just a manager, a C-level team member, a member of the public being able to see every single facet of the organization. And that's sort of what we're doing with project management and AI, things like that.
As you pivot people, as people move around to make sure you're getting the most out of them, you want to put them in a position to succeed. So how are you arming them? How are you equipping them with the moves?
Absolutely. And so what we're doing there is making sure that, as we've added all of these additional systems and all of these additional jobs, we basically expanded their role. So when they're doing, a report that would take, 2-3 minutes, we're asking them to dedicate 20% of their day to sort of write up and write. And that's not what they do best. What they do best is providing service to the public. So what we're doing is making sure that we provide them the tools to get out of their way. Right? We're building them the solutions. When you're done with the job, you press a button as opposed to writing down or sending an email and things of that nature. And then what we're doing to sort of capture all that stuff is we're leveraging AI. We're talking about AI a lot, but AI, because we have so much, allows us to quickly summarize that stuff so we can move on fast and talk across silos. So.
And a lot of what that means for the rest of us is whenever the frontliners are working on finishing playground, finishing their daily tasks, that information is being now relayed through AI and the system that Steven set up immediately directly to all the reports at the C team. So now we're going to know in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a day-to-day, moment by moment triaging to know exactly what happened yesterday, what's supposed to happen today, what happens tomorrow. So therefore, what it boils down to for everybody in the public is, are we going to deliver our projects on time? Are we going to open the parks? Are we going to build them? Are we going to maintain them? And not keep having the conversations, why are we late on this? And oftentimes it's 2 to 3 days, 3 weeks trying to figure out. Now we're going to have real-time information so we can do faster project management.
So not only are we looking at a repurposing of some people, and this lends to what Janet's mission has been since day one, is a redefining of best practices.
The backbone is the IS system that allows the people that are doing the work to communicate a whole lot faster than what we up to this point based on paper.
Yeah, I mean, look, you mentioned AI. It's just
Yeah, it's just right. Just give me
wherever intelligence comes in from, I want it.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Let's talk a little bit. You mentioned contracts and partnerships. Let's talk about that streamlining as well.
Well, the contracts at BREC have been pretty much in a lot of different places, a lot of different folders, a lot of different SharePoint sites. They're there. Okay. But up until very recently, they haven't been centralized and they haven't been able to be organized. Well, no more. Again, with the tools that Steve's bringing in, the tie-in between operations and information with contracts is going to be a whole lot easier because we're centralizing everything. And now we can actually standardize our wording, our clauses, our systems, our templates, and we're bringing everything together in a much more aligned process to be able to negotiate contracts, start contracts, edit contracts, and implement contracts a whole lot more smoothly.
That's a lot of the back end stuff. Front end, obviously, safety is always going to be a concern throughout the parish, throughout the park system as well. What are we doing on that end as staff moves around?
Absolutely. So when the Key 3 came in, we brought in a security consultant. He looked at our sort of vast infrastructure of cameras, realized no one was watching them, realized they were only used when an incident happened, and that they're worthless at that point.
Right.
So it was decided to stand up a security operations center. We have the talent in house to build that. They have the talent to actually develop what that protocol looks like, stand it up. And so what we're going to see in very short time is visibility across the entire parish, 24/7, evaluating 100 and some parks, 1,500 cameras, Also leveraging AI, because the question is, how do you have 3 people view 1,500 cameras? And the answer is you don't.
Right.
The answer is you allow AI to tell you that person is doing this thing at that period of time. And then we have the guys on the ground in the security ops center that does the dispatch, does the follow-up, does all of those things. And we're able to do that very fast. And it's something we've been looking for a long time.
Wow. How quick is this turnaround, though? I mean, this feels like it's happening pretty fast.
We're looking at 3 to 4 weeks here.
Absolutely.
Wow.
We're moving fast.
Extremely fast.
Absolutely.
And we now have rooms that we like to give rooms names. So, so our security room that now monitors 1,200 cameras, we internally call it Fort Knox.
Okay.
All right. Man 24/7.
Yeah.
All right. And now we're building another room called the Tower, which is like air traffic control, which monitors all of our project management. So therefore you can step in one room, you're gonna be able to see all the security. You're gonna be able to step in another room, very similar to the studio here. You're gonna be able to see where we are live, day by day, minute by minute, project management. So it's really exciting. And again, Steve's team is just turning this turnaround extremely fast.
Stephen, I appreciate a couple minutes. Maurice, we got less than a minute to go.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What do you want to lock it out with? Anything on the calendar people need to know about?
March 19th.
March 19th.
Come to the community meeting. We're going to announce it later this week. It's St. George, the St. George community meeting. We're going to be discussing in detail and showing the airline highway plan. It's going to be either at Santa Maria or at the St. George Fire Department. We'll announce that this week, if not at your next show next Monday.
A lot of moving parts, and they are moving quickly. That's why we do this every single week. Stephen, Maurice, Rob, Janet, thank you all so much. You've been listening to the BREC Room this morning as part of Mornings with Brian Haldane. We got to get out of here, y'all. Tomorrow, we are on location, the Pelican Institute Solutions Summit. I'll be out there. Moon will be out there. We're coming to you all morning long. We'll see you then. All right, Facebook, we got to bounce. Later.